Fun.
Oh my God, we're back at it again.
We're doing a thing.
Back at it again.
Yeah, hi guys. Thank you for joining us as we are doing a thing, as Garrett says. Welcome to this session of The Keep. Thank you for joining us today. We are in for some crazy shenanigans if I know anything about these guys. So,
very wild.
Welcome. Before we jump into the game itself, we do have a few quick announcements. First off, if you hadn't had a moment yet to check out Take This, please do. They are an awesome nonprofit charity organization that works to decrease the stigma of mental health in our gaming community and to increase awareness and resources for those of us who deal with those sorts of issues. And it is awesome, much needed work. So if you can, please donate. If you can't, because let's be real, it can be difficult sometimes. At least check them out on social media. Spread the word, spread awareness of this issue. Speaking of things to check out on social media, we are on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok now.
Our latest thing.
Our latest thing. So you should check us out. We are the Keep RPG across platforms. Another thing you should totally check out specifically, we have two of us who have our own channels now. Jay has the Pandaverse and Garrett has Night Shift Night. So by all means, they are putting out some really cool content. You should give them a look-see.
I just put up 2 new videos. They're so good and stuff. Go watch things.
And let's be honest, Garrett puts up cool content. Mine is mostly me running around screaming.
If you're a big fan of Little Nightmares 2, Jay's not.
Can I be a guest on your show so I can poke you and prod you as spooky things happen?
Jay almost
that just seems like fun.
Last time, okay? Jay had was on the verge of tears. It was not okay. Jay does not do scary things. These two idiots, pointing at Wes and Garrett, are trying to get me to play Silent Hill.
Petition for Jay's next game to be Silent Hill.
Jay,
don't want him screaming to set off my dog, and that's the only reason I'm voting no.
Thank you, Lauren.
Jay.
What?
If you play spooky game, I'll drive to your house and play with you. I want spooky game.
Might need somebody to hold my hand. So.
I just beat on the door randomly.
Guys, pandemic issues, socially distanced gaming, good thing.
Right. That
responsible adulting. Not killing fun, sorry. Also, moving on with our announcements before we get too sidetracked.
Well, I wanted to say real quick, Jordan, thank you for sending me those things. I made the video. And
I saw it up. It is on my next up watch list.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Very cool. Also, totally should check out Dinner to Game. We are co-hosting with them. They are some really cool peeps who are also doing the streaming thing. And they have been starting some really cool new stuff. So you should totally check out their channel. Also, tune in next Tuesday for a brand new episode of Keep Lounging by Jeremiah. Special guest star this time is going to be our very own Brenda. So should be good, should be awesome. Yeah. Check out the previous ones if you haven't. They are up on our YouTube now, I do believe. So they are available and very cool. Is there anything else on our list of announcements before we get going?
We're all gonna die.
Nope, not today.
I have an exit plan. I'm fine.
I believe that. 100% Rye would be the type to do that.
Just take Vanera with you.
Garrett has lit his incense. I think that is our cue to start.
It's like the starting gun.
It is like the starting gun.
Let the race commence.
So, when last we left our heroes, after arriving in Dragenthrone, the home turf for the Church of Bahamut on this continent, the group began to gather information about the city. They learned several disturbing things. The Brotherhood as being accepted as an official sect of the Church of Bahamut. Sarai has been arrested, has escaped, and now has a warrant out for her arrest. You managed to send to Sarai to arrange a meeting with her at Gertie Gadsworth's Gamut of Goods, where you meet with Gertie, and Sarai, and you are also introduced to Harker, an allied silver dragonborn who's Gertie's informant in the Dragon Guard. After Sarai and Harker report to Gertie, Sarai leads the group through the sewer system, where you killed a nest of kobolds and released a horde of cats. After shenanigans, including interrogating a kobold, communing with a strange new power, thank you, Val, and reuniting with Vanera, the child oracle of Bahamut, you awoke the next morning to find Vanera and Val both missing. In your investigation, the group found that a rat had been disguised, really an imp had been disguised as a rat, not the other way around.
There we go.
And this imp was oddly deferential to Rye. And after questioning and killing this imp, the group took off on the trail of the Oracle. Val, who awoke in the same spot where he had communed with the strange power, the one who called himself the one who pulls the strings, also finds a rat that is an imp in disguise. He killed it and began exploring some of the nearby caverns. He found a group of fiends in the midst of a teleportation ritual and successfully, barely, evaded their notice. Guided by faithful Displacer Beast Nightbane, the group reunites and engages the fiends to rescue Vanera. Quick work by Rye disrupts the ritual, while Halberd, at great risk to himself, rescues Vanera. Battle ensues, and while the party manages to rid themselves of most of the fiends, the Bone Devil, who had been enacting this teleportation ritual, managed to escape, activating a magical item to get away. We pick up in the quiet moment immediately after the last fiend has been finished off by Val, turned into a steaming pile of sludge, quickly pooling on the floor of this dark, dead-end hallway. So, there's this brief moment of quiet. A few moments pass, and then you hear what is almost a tearing, ripping sound as the fabric of space is torn asunder. You see a long, serpentine form emerge, glowing lightly, luminous. You see... Actually, I'm going to have Solyex and Val and Rye and Halberd. Y'all can go ahead and make religion or nature checks.
I feel compelled to put my shield between that and
Why did I roll that die?
Vanera.
Just roll that die. That was a mistake.
Vanera is still unconscious, by the way.
Yeah.
No injuries that you can see, but asleep.
I don't get like Arcana or history on this.
No, this would not be Arcana or history.
Great.
I've got a 25.
Okay.
12.
Anybody else have above a 15?
No.
Oh, Albert.
I do.
Okay. So the two of you would recognize these, or this winged serpent, as a coatl.
Oh.
It, for the most part, ignores you and goes and immediately spreads its wings farther, begins nosing around and investigating. The light off of it begins to brighten and glow, and it begins to investigate the runes that are left over from the teleportation ritual that the fiends had been attempting to conduct. You hear it quietly speaking to itself under its breath.
I thought there were two of them.
Just one.
The moment this thing shows up, I'm putting Vanera back inside the charm.
Okay, because I was moving to guard her.
There's a very quiet hissing that begins to permeate the air around this creature. Does anyone speak Celestial?
Yes.
So, Jordan, you hear it muttering to itself, quietly, distantly. You have to sort of strain to make it out. So So no. Oh, I see. Yes, this element here, that would be the quiet. But why then the explosion of sound? The awareness is odd. No, 2 elements there must be. One I see here had failed, incomplete. Very sloppy work, rushed.
Everybody
I can
in
tell.
their minds gets a message that says he's speaking celestial. He doesn't seem aggressive. Just that for now.
Well, that's creepy.
I still don't put away my axe
It's
or
in
my shield.
Casator's voice. I DM ruling. I don't know. I don't know if you recognize how similar awakened.
It's
mind
like when Kazator is speaking. It has the timbre and quality of his voice. There are elements to it, a scent element that reminds you of books or sort of musty feathers. And also a feel of it like old leather or paper that you touch, and it just gives this weight of history to it. Both things that you associate with Kazator.
I will respond to Kazator and be like, Celestial, so are we to assume it is a good creature?
Indeterminate currently. Being that it seems to be a celestial creature and deities being one of my areas of study, is this something I recognize?
Did you roll the religion or nature above 15?
I didn't roll.
Go ahead and roll then.
Okay.
Give this a shot.
Oh, that's a nat 2, so it doesn't matter.
So no, it's speaking celestial. It doesn't seem aggressive at all, and it's very curiously investigating. And as it's actually, go ahead and roll an insight check for me.
Okay. With specifically my study of Ioun, does this seem to resonate, or is
No,
this
not in particular.
Okay, just want to make sure. What do you say? Insight.
Insight. 23. Okay, awesome. So you do get the sense that this creature is very focused, based on what it's looking at and its body language, how it is pursuing the knowledge of these fiends. You would guess that something got its attention. It traveled between the planes to investigate this. With the seriousness of its body, there is some agitation and frustration that it got here, and it's just it feels like it has been foiled in whatever it was attempting to do, and is now just trying to pick up the pieces and garner what information it can.
DM, with the roll I had earlier, or if I need to make a new one, that's fine. You said I recognize what it is. What do I remember about what they are?
You know that koalas are generally servants of deities. They're celestial creatures. They typically remain on the celestial planes, serving their various patrons. But they can be sent on errands or given missions or tasks that they will leave those home planes to accomplish.
Interesting.
Lauren, in the stillness as this thing shows up, I'm going to use the sword, and saying that Val is hurt and kind of still on the front line, I'm going to give him 45 hit points.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Okay.
So, based on my role and what I may or may not know, because you had in your role,
Right.
What I know, do these things generally bear color markings or schemes of their deities that would give away what type of deity it were to serve? Good questions.
What was your result?
19.
19? Not in particular. You would guess that some of them might, at some point, have some sort of symbolism after a long term of service. So essentially, like the ones that have been serving their deity for eons and eons. This particular one, you don't see any particular colors or markings. Its body is the colors are hard to make out in the dim light in this particular hallway. From what you can tell, it looks like the main serpentine part of its body is in shades of green, darker on the back, lighter on the underbelly. That the wings that flare out from its body are shades of green and fading into oranges and pinks at the tips of the feathers. That there is a tuft at the end of the tail that is also the same sort of orange and pink coloration. reminiscent of the last vestiges of Twilight.
Cool.
Terrible.
Is that ringing any deitic bells in my head?
Not that you can immediately perceive.
Okay.
So
If Casator can see me, I'll wave him towards me. Since I'm still technically in that room. Only a few feet away. Kind of terrifying, not gonna lie. Thank you for those health points.
I want to move to where I'm guarding whichever one of our squishy people is closest. Whether that's like Rai or Casator or Sarai.
And as Casator comes up next to me, I'll just kind of give a small bow and, is there something that we can help you with? And I'll say that in common.
So
Go ahead, Halberd.
So I'm just recapping from last time. I'm poisoned right now. I can't see things straight. And I got critted in the stomach with a gaping wound that's loaded with acid, right? So
Yeah, that tracks.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm
I
going to
never
take a
got
shot in
that
the
at
dark and
all.
hoping that this is Casator who actually reached out and actually did speak to me. Mentally, I'm going to respond and say, I can't see straight. I can't stand up. Something's not right here. And I'm just gonna try to get Vanera back away. I don't know what this is. And I'm going to lean on Nightbane and just basically like rest on him and have him slowly and quietly start backing up.
So you go ahead and you start backing up. Sarai sees where you are still injured. She had given you a little bit of healing in the midst of the combat. And as you are sort of limping away on Nightbane, hunched over, sort of protecting your gut wound, where it's starting to heal over and starting to close up, and not nearly as severe as it had first felt. She comes over and she does give you another healing spell for 19 more points of healing.
I'm gonna ask her if it's normal. Is it normal to not see straight? I'd have some idea, having influence of poison and a poisoner's kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd have some recollection that things aren't sitting right in me with poison.
Right. It's like, oh, no, that's quite unusual. Do you come over here and have a seat? I'll see what I can do. And she guides you over towards the wall around the corner, slightly distant in case combat does break out again, and starts investigating your wound to see if there's anything she can do to help. We'll get back to that here in just a moment. Val, you had spoken to it in common.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me what you had asked.
If there was anything we could do to help it.
It looks over at you, sort of looks you up and down. No, I don't believe so. And it speaks to you in common, in the same language with which you had addressed it.
Oh.
And it goes back to investigating the runes and the sigils, continuing to mutter under its breath.
As Val called me over, as I moved towards him, I moved my symbol of Iron from beneath my cloak to the top where it's visible. And in Celestial, I will say, are you certain we have some idea of these beings that you're seeking?
As you speak Celestial to it, you can see there's this momentary pause where it's like, wait a moment. And it turns ever so slowly and looks at you. And it responds in Celestial. Perhaps you can be of some use. You say you know the beings that... What? Came through? Left? Escaped? Fled? What happened?
They were abducting a friend of ours. We retrieved her, and yes, the one that survived fled.
Yes, the Oracle. We understand her importance. She was not taken through?
She was not.
And you see a very slight relaxation as a ruffle passes through the feathers of its wings. The gateway was open to Avernus. And you see it sort of gestures with its head at the runes and sigils through part of the circle. You can see the angle of the lines here and the shape of the runes here. Obviously, you can tell. But what? This is not how they traveled. There was another means here. What happened?
This method was interrupted, and in the midst of the battle, the one remaining of their party, seeming to be their leader, fled via a tuning fork.
That would do it. That would. Of course it would. And it's continuing to speak in Celestial at this point. It would make sense. Then this here, and it turns and it starts studying the sigils again very intently, this glyph upon the wall. Where it's almost a perfect circle, about 90 to 95% of the way complete. And that gap is what Rag had interrupted before it could be completed, right at the start of the combat. And you hear it muttering into its breath. So this is the stealthy, quiet, muffling the echoes of the teleportation. That would be why we didn't hear it. And then it turns and looks back at you and said, a tuning fork.
Yes. Might I inquire as to who you are, or to who you represent?
Or in divine sense.
Divine sense, okay.
Celestial fiend undead.
It is a very strong celestial presence.
No invisible fiends.
No invisible fiends.
Dude, Invisible Fiend, that would make a rad band name. Also, like I said, I was on guard. I think I'm guarding Rye. If that's... just-
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal.
So, I'm hanging out with her.
My name is unpronounceable to most. I suppose you could call me Fidelius.
Fidelius.
Polonius?
Fidelius, I am Casator. Might I ask who you represent?
I am privileged to serve the Platinum Dragon himself, though for a relatively short time, as you mortals count it.
Okay, bye. Slayax, your supervisor would like to speak to you.
I would not be on the front desk. Front desk.
I would not be so presumptuous to assume that you know who me or my companions are, except we have the Arbiter with us. Is there something that we can do?
Is this whole conversation going on in Celestial?
Yes.
Something.
Okay.
You hear a very musical language, almost like wind chimes, having this echoing musical quality from the Coatl, and Soyex responding back in still this very resonant musical tone.
It sounds like meditation music, but word.
Kind of, yeah. Very, very much of that same vein.
Is there? Can you give us any direction from the Platinum Dragon?
What task are you on? I'm afraid I have not kept up to date with the most current news. I've been, researching these breaches, of course.
Still got my axe.
Specifically from Avernus to here in White Throne. Great. Where are we?
Dragon Throne.
White Dragon Throne. Grim Throne. I don't know.
Good Grand Throne.
But not so specifically, no. But from the Hells to this particular plane, yes. There have been several lately, and they've been getting sneakier and sneakier. It's of some great concern.
That's lovely.
Have you looked into anything between Avernus and the Feywild?
No. Why would I? Have you encountered some?
We have encountered those on the same mission as the ones you seek, researching in the Feywild.
A new avenue of my research. You have been helpful. I must go pursue this. Thank you ever so much. And you can see it sort of turn and start to create this, it starts to chant in this arcane language. And as it begins this language, this spell, you can see a series of glyphs start to glow and appear in the air, writing almost as this musical language takes form and substance. You see rows of glyphs starting to stack up, creating the beginnings of a tear through the fabric of reality, very much like the kind it came through into this place.
Kisator counter spells.
Only.
Might do something.
I guess, is this 6 seconds and he's gone, or is there a minute here? Not a minute, but is there?
There's the spell is in progress. It has not been complete yet. He having been given this hint,
Mm-hmm.
is fixing to head out. You can see him, but he's not at the point where you can't stop him for
Right.
something else. He's very single-minded in his focus, from what you can tell.
I couldn't tell that.
Right.
Are you going to try to distract him and to continue a line of questions, or are you going to let him go?
I want to question him. It's a matter of what do I ask? And that's what I was saying. Like, if he's gone in 6 seconds, I probably went. But if it took longer, then
So
I would.
Lauren gave us help, and we failed to use.
We waved at it as it passed through.
You see that?
Um,
That opportunity passing you by.
If you want to take just a moment to think, Jordan, we can go ahead and check in on what everybody else is doing and then jump back to this.
do that.
Okay. Right. Having observed all of this, you see this glowing winged serpentine form appear. You see it talking in this very musical language. And though you don't speak Celestial, you are aware and learned enough to recognize the language even if you don't particularly speak it. So you see this conversation that is happening. What are you doing in the meantime?
I guess the first question I would have is, even though they're not the same language, Celestial is very similar to Elven, so am I picking up any of this?
It'd be a very difficult translation. Go ahead and make me we'll say DC 22 intelligence check.
Oh my god. No, I rolled a 7. There's no way I'm making that.
So with everything going on, with thoughts of your grandfather swirling through your mind, the presence of the fiends and the imps recognizing you're a little too distracted to really focus and turn your brain into tune into the conversation to try and translate as it's occurring. Val, you were raising your hand. Is there something you want to do?
Oh, I was just curious because I also speak with Sylvan and Elven, if that would apply to. I didn't know that they were that close together.
There are elements that cross over. They are distantly related languages. So we'll say same for you. DC 22 intelligence check.
Do that one in the box.
Out of the box.
That's a natural one. I don't know. Crap. I'm hurting. I'm dead.
You're hurting. You are consumed with thoughts of the battle that has just passed, and how you, in particular, killed 2 fiends. Like you dealt the final blow. Your ego is being stroked just a little bit. You have this sense of satisfaction. And so even though this is happening, you're catching your breath. You are getting through the rush of endorphins that come at the end of this battle.
Not letting a fighter be a fighter.
Be faster.
Doran, you are standing guard for Rye at this point. So
Doran will remember that.
Oh,
See me
good
use
games.
me
Good
attempt
games.
to use that shitty rune shield to save you away. All right. Not that it ever works.
So Doran, you're standing guard for Rye. The language is
Yeah.
actually make a DC 22 intelligence check.
Oh, he got the big intelligence now, though.
Well, potentially. Hold on, let me
It's
pull
a
up.
long shot. It's still a fairly high check.
+4.
It should be like a
Intelligence.
+4, Garrett.
Yeah, I do.
Mhm.
Watch him.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Oh, you know what dice we need today? You know what dice we need today, kids? We need the yeet dice.
Yeet it.
Yeet dice. Use it.
No. Yeah, that's an 18. That was a good roll.
18.
Good
So
good job,
you're
yeet dice.
you're catching about one word out of every 10 or 15. Not enough to follow the conversation, but you are getting a vague sense of some of the words. Which is odd. It's not an experience you've ever had before. Where is it?
I'm double cursed, I know.
You remember when you very first started learning Infernal and being
Yeah.
able to understand? This is a much slower process. This is something that you are not used to being this slowed down. But it's that same sort of part of your brain that's being turned on to recognize this.
I feel like it's this weird thing, like if Doran switched gears and studied, he'd learn things and like get stupid smart or something. This is scary. I'm double cursed. I got the magic stone in the axe that's gonna curse me, and also this headband is gonna possess my soul.
Welcome to the club, buddy.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean you've joined my club, so
Technically, he and Kazator started it first.
Yeah, that's true.
that's what I mean. Anyway, I look over at Rye. I'm like, do you understand what any of this is going on?
What? Sorry, darling.
I know I'm whispering because I don't want to make that thing, whatever it is, angry, but do you understand what any of that is being said? Do you know what's going on?
I'm gonna kind of look between the thing and Kazator and say, I would assume nothing terrible because it's not attacking us, but we probably need to wrap this up quickly because I can almost guarantee you we have very little time before somebody finds out what happens and tries again. So.
This is not our day.
Yes, darling, that's a statement.
I'd pat you on the back because, but I'm holding a shield and an axe. It'll get better. It'll get better.
That's optimism.
Not saying anything, you're just commenting on what.
Can you blame me for wanting to be optimistic?
I'm just not sure what you're basing it off of, darling, that's all.
I don't know anymore.
Oh.
It was a long day at work. I'm tired. Anyway.
While Doran and Rye are having this quiet conversation, Solyex, what are you up to?
Well, it seems non-aggressive. We're talking to K-Store. It is a celestial. I'm gonna go check on Halberd because
Okay.
he looks like absolute terribleness, and I don't like looking at this weird thing. So I'm just gonna dip around the corner.
Okay, so you duck around the corner. At this point, you see where Sarai has been inspecting Halbert's wounds. And she's looking at, oh yes, that's quite a nasty poison you've got there. One moment, and you see her sort of bow her head, and this light begins to glow from her hands, and she places her hands over the wound. The light takes on this very silvery hue, a silvery white almost, as she covers the wound on your stomach, Halberd, and you feel a cessation of the sort of burning heat of the poison as she casts her spell, and you are no longer poisoned.
Whoa. That's some good stuff right there.
I'm gonna walk up and put my hand on Halbert's shoulder and look at Sarai and say, don't know what you know about celestials, but there's one around the corner talking to Kasador.
Am I an angelic being or something other? Never mind. If you'll excuse me, this
I
is
don't know. Have fun.
remarkable. Vanera is still safe, right, in that space.
She is not getting touched as long as I'm here. I'm gonna lean back and pull out an arrow and just be like, all right, I'm ready to go now.
With my hand on his shoulder, I will give him 45 hit points.
I don't need that much.
Okay, well, how much do you need to match you up?
With my temps, about 10.
No, don't. Yeah, it'll go on top of your temps.
Oh, give me 24.
Okay, you get 24. And when Sarai walks away, I will look at Howard and say, I suggest you talk with Rai and figure out how to get her out of here quickly. We need to carry on with the plan. And I'm not sure if I trust Rai, but she seems to have the only exit. And I feel like the library is a safe bet. And with that, I will turn and start heading back towards Sarai in the Celestial.
Halberd, was there anything else that you wanted to be doing?
I'll slowly inch my way forward.
Okay.
Kind of cover because I don't trust stuff right now, but I'm not looking to cause any problems.
Okay. Good deal. So you start inching your way towards the corner where you can get as clear a view as possible, but still sort of in the shadows cast by the glow provided from the body of this celestial being. Kazator, back to you. As the spell to teleport him from this plane of existence is starting to be cast, is there anything you want to interrupt with?
I will just say, I have more information on your rifts.
You see where these silver runes that are writing themselves into the air freeze for a moment, and it just turns and it looks over its winged, feathered wing in your direction. You know more.
Much more.
Do tell.
Would you like to know about the random portals opening up in the domain of the beholder known as the Underlord? Or perhaps the name of the individual you would be seeking in the Feywild? Or perhaps again the means by which these portals are opening?
As fascinating as these portals are, unfortunately they are not my task. These fiends and these portals to the hells in particular, these signs of an incursion perhaps fomenting. Have you more information on that?
I know the items they are collecting in order to open the rift to Avernus.
You know the locations of these items?
Some.
Where these portals may form?
I know where some are, and I have idea. Do we have any pings on other books right now?
Right now? No.
Like, have we gotten any since the last book we found?
The last ping you got was in the Feywild.
And we did not retrieve that.
No.
No, we GTFO'd hard.
Yeah.
I know where some of these items are, and a general idea of where others may be.
It lifts the feathers of one wing in a sort of sideways slicing motion. The glyphs disappear, and it turns and it faces you directly for the first time, and you feel the weight of its presence and its gaze rest upon you, and says, "Speak quickly then, mortal. What information do you have for me?"
Isator, it looks angry. What did you say?
Let me point the hit points to Val.
Thanks.
In everybody's head, I'm going to say it's a servant of Bahamut.
Oh,
Um,
I relax only a little
I will
bit.
say, are you familiar with entities known as sanctums?
We are aware of
Are
these
you aware of the
entities.
books that stabilize their access to the different worlds?
We are aware of these stabilizing effects. Not all sanctums choose to manifest them as books. But yes, I know of what you speak. Do continue.
Are you aware that sanctums have been attacked and these artifacts stolen?
Interesting, though my patience wanes. Do please get to the point.
I am simply determining what you already know and what I need to explain. These items, how many do we have? I forget. 3?
Well,
At least
we've got 2 on us at the moment,
Uh-huh.
and I've given 2 back to the Sanctum.
Sanctum? Okay. We have recovered 2 of these back to our Sanctum. We have 2 in our possession. There's another in the Feywild, and we believe that many more are now in the possession of the enemies of Bahamut, and specifically her children.
Her children.
Her children.
Oh.
One of which is the individual you will find in the Feywild, in the court of
the Eventide Empress.
the Eventide Empress.
Bravo, Garrett.
All I could think of was glory.
Carrot gets a brownie point.
Yay! Brain do good.
Make the DM proud.
Yay.
The individual there is the common calamity known as Kalarin.
You see the feathers on the wings bristle and tense, and the Coatl before you speaks. That one.
My shield is up a little higher.
Val just smacks Queso toward the arm. Stop pissing it off.
In his mind, he said, "I'm not. I'm helping it."
Yeah, you're attacking the thing that's giving it information. Great.
As you sort of whack, the tail twitches around and whacks. Not quite you, but it gets very close to your face, and you feel the snap of the wind sort of brush against the skin of your face. It
That's
doesn't
right.
look at you. It
Just head
never
on my face.
deviates
Don't
its
stick off
focus
my
from
new pet.
Kazator. What was that, Jordan?
In Val's head, he hears, "Don't tick off my new pet."
Thinking big.
Oh my gosh.
In your mind,
Whoa.
you hear a
knew it.
bristling voice.
I was so.
I am no one's pet. And
it's
this, all of you hear this.
Oh shoot.
I'm so confused right now.
Apologies. In Celestial again, my apologies. Only trying to subdue my friend here with a little intimidation tactic.
Eyes in the back going,
Yeah, right?
The one comment, like, where did that come from?
Right. Its gaze locks on you again, Kazator, and the eyes are very focused. Your apology is accepted.
Thank
I
God.
dare not linger long. If you have true information for me, with the presence of that one in the Feywild, you said?
Yes, in the court of the Eventide Empress. In the guise of a woman in red. That's only befitting.
The forces of the Scaled Tyrant. Must be marshalling. This is moving faster than I thought. Faster than I feared.
My friends and I are here in Dragon Throne to do what we can to stop the rise of the Brotherhood into the Church of Bahamut.
This brotherhood. You say they're part of the church?
They have become accepted within the church, though they are, in truth,
I love this
servants of
conversation.
Bahamut's enemy.
The very church has been invaded by those who serve her,
Figured
and you
that
see
was-
it is tense, and it is angry. It is this fury is written through every line of its body. The glow around it is starting to intensify from shades of silver edging into blue.
I'm moving a little bit
Anything-
more in front of Rye.
Is there anything you can do to help us in our quest as I have done for yours?
Visitor, stop pissing it off.
My powers here are limited, and I truly must report back these ill tidings. Have you any specific request? Anything within my power to accomplish?
You have like a short list of your powers? Or- I don't actually say that.
That's a totally
That's
case
totally a
thing.
case of sport thing to have.
How about start by speaking a language everyone understands?
Visitor, you know these things are very frequently celestial messengers. Is there a message you wish conveyed, or a delivery of a task or word you wish undertaken? Something like that would be very well within its wheelhouse.
Message you could take to Bahamut for us.
Help, help, please God, help.
Um,
We are two.
what was your check to know what this thing was?
Oh, real bad. 4, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, never mind then.
Okay. If you could take a message for us, it would be that we are too small to overcome this on our own. We're going to have to do it by subterfuge and secrecy. If Bahamut could smile on us, and in times of scrutiny, our acts could go unnoticed. It is hard to conceal yourself the closer you get to the church, as I'm sure you know.
Help will go.
You see it look at you. You say, it says, you hear it say, true concealment is beyond my capability. But take this, and it does a ruffle through its wings, and a single feather drops off.
I was so hoping.
And you see,
So anime.
this may perhaps aid in your endeavor.
I incline my head and accept the feather.
All right. Thank you for your words. Now I must continue my mission.
I'll nod and
And
say, I hope that they can expedite your progress.
it begins to speak again. The silver blue runes reform in the air. These glowing golden sigils begin to form a column up and down. And then it splits through the middle, creating this rift in the fabric of time and space. And it begins to fly through. And very quickly, the rift closes behind it, and it is gone.
As I can see it's leaving, I'm gonna whisper project up to Kazator, a traditional goodbye to someone in the Church of Bahamut, for him to give to the
I repeat it eloquently.
Val's like eyeing the runes and trying to quickly scribble them down.
Val's like, how can I get another deity right now, y'all?
Val's like, I
Val?
want to learn that plane shift.
Val, make an Arcana check.
Oh, thank you.
Kazator, make a perception check.
Can I get a rune check?
Sure, Doran can also make an Arcana check.
That is a 26.
26. All right, you do recognize. We'll see what Doran gets here real quick.
Arcana. Oh, I have an A next to Arcana.
That would
That's
be
up.
an advantage. So
That's
roll with
radical.
advantage.
I'll use both of my metal dice. 18.
18. Okay, so Doran,
Neato.
you do recognize a very few elements of this particular rune sequence.
Yeah.
They are of the magic school conjuration, and they are typically related to teleportation. Beyond that, you're not getting any particular sigils of any destination. You're not getting any particular sigils of the actual flow of magic. It's very complicated, and from what you can tell, a lot of Val, you notice this in particular. A lot of these runes and sigils are tied together in ways that create sort of a shorthand for completing the spell. So it's very, when the runes of this are mostly indecipherable for Doran. He recognizes elements of them and building blocks enough to identify what happened. Val can identify the destination. This particular okay. This particular rune sequence is destined for the celestial planes, specifically for what you know to be the home plane of Bahamut.
He wasn't lying.
I'm literally writing like as closely as I can to exact, writing down the runes, the sequence as they appeared, the whole 9 yards. And
He just pulled out a little notepad out of his butt pocket and he's just like,
nope,
writing all this down.
The great thing about clerics, they come with pens and paper.
I mean, it's handy.
And I'm actually going to, after I write that down, make another copy of it, and I'm going to give one of those copies to Rye and say, this was the runes from the teleportation spell that creature used. I don't know if this will help you in any way, shape, fashion, or form, but I figured if anybody could make heads or tails of it, you might too. And I'll give Rye the piece of paper with the runes and the everything that I saw.
Okay.
I pocket it.
So
I'll
specifically,
help you fill in the blanks about the fact that it's a teleport, even though that's kind of obvious since there's a location, but still.
Specifically, the runes and symbols describe a place. It's hard to translate out of Celestial, but the two of you, Val and Rye, can go ahead and make religion checks.
I'm not as good at that.
Hey, Lord, random question. It's never come up before, but do I know what plane Bahamut's home's on?
You can also make this religion check.
I just realized I didn't know that, and I'm curious.
I am tossing out this dice tonight. Not tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bad dice.
so I realized I actually am good at the religions. That's a 25.
Okay.
That's a 10.
And Rye,
It was an 8.
8. Okay, did not hear the number. Okay, so Rye and Soliex, no idea. Val, you recognize that this is a sigil destination somewhere on Mount Celestia.
That could come in handy.
So, somebody fill me in on everything that just took place. Something about he's with Bahamut and he's not a pet. I got that. Other than that,
Yeah.
Also, can we have this conversation while we're walking? We need to
Also-
find a doorway, right, Rye? How do we get Veneer out of here?
he was with
Real-
Bahamut. Was the
Lauren, real
we
quick.
stayed with him?
What
Okay,
is happening?
pause for a moment. Let's start with Garrett. Doran.
Just I jotted those teleport runes down because I thought maybe I could use them later somehow.
Okay,
Runestone things.
sure thing.
That's all.
Good deal. Good to know. Halberd.
If he works with Bahamut, if he knows Bahamut, I don't know much. I'm getting relayed everything, I guess. Would the Oracle have been Cyphus with him?
That is the valid. I mean, it's.
Are you asking that out loud?
Yes.
I don't think so. He was tracking down these beings from Avernus. I don't think we want her following them.
Yeah, no.
But what y'all just said is he went to Bahamut's home plane.
Only to relay the information that I gave him so that he could go out again to track
Relay?
down.
So what? To Bahamut?
Relay.
Okay.
I suppose. I'm a little confused about who knows what at this point, to be honest.
I have no idea about anything, but I'd love to get away from this place.
Low on the totem pole, I think.
Okay, but the important
go.
thing.
I agree
right,
with Howard. Let's get
How
out
do
of
we
here,
get-
please.
I need to get up to the city with Vanira, and I
Okay,
locate a bookstore, a temple, or
so
a
what,
school, someplace with knowledge.
what do you need to get Vanira to the library?
Wait a minute.
Someplace
why,
with knowledge.
why is she going to the library?
Because it's off of this plane.
It's off of this plane, and I can get her to the
Secure
chapel.
location in an ancient place. I need
Right
Vanira
now, we
out
just
of this
need-
city.
We just need to get Vanira somewhere that Bilal nor Tiamat knows about, or has access to.
Does Tiamat know about you?
I would assume not. I'm not particularly important to her.
Any particular reason why Tiamat might know our cleric or our wizard person, whoever you want to know?
Your grandfather's somebody.
You're the cleric, man.
I know.
The imp called her by name.
What in
The imp
I
that
don't-
we captured in.
Oh, you weren't. He wasn't here. Right.
Point of note, the imp did not address her by name. The Idrim called her young mistress.
Young mistress. Knew her lineage and spoke directly to her and with some formality and much respect.
In the room where Vanira was kidnapped, we found an imp. We captured the imp. The imp saw Rye and said, "Oh, hello, I know you." Apparently, the imp works for Rye's grandfather, who is apparently on Avernus.
okay.
Am I kind of close?
We don't
What are
have
you
time
talking
for this conversation ultimately, because right now there's a bone devil that before it gets ground into dust is going to be telling presumably Bilal about everything that happened here. And if Bilal is connected to Tiamat and Tiamat is connected to the Desmond fellow that charmed your cleric friend, I can assume he's probably going to find out very quickly about what happened and the fact that the Arbiter is here. So we have time to discuss my lineage and we have time to get Vanira out of here.
Well, we have plenty of time to walk as we find a temple and or library. So as we're walking, why don't you talk?
Argue on the run. Let's go.
I would prefer not to talk in a space where we have just found fiends. So if we can avoid that type of conversation at the moment, I think it would be better primarily for me, but also for you.
Don't worry,
The
divine
dwarf
sense. Are there fiends around us?
In this very small hallway, not that you can see.
I don't sense any fiends. We're clear. Let's keep going. So,
No,
Look,
what's going
that's
on?
not-
Steve?
that's not how this is going to work.
At this point, the dwarf doesn't want to be underground. That says something. Can we go, please? This is a bad place, and the first place they're gonna come looking for us is here. Let's move,
I'm already
please.
walking down
We're
the
walking.
tunnel.
We're walking.
Ultimately, I just need us to get to the service and I can find access to the library.
I
We're
just
walking and talking.
flavor text of those lines.
Alright, so y'all are walking and making your way through the tunnel system. Where are you
Look, guys.
going? Because it's a very short distance to get into the sewer system you came from. It's a longer distance to get back to where Sarai and Vanira had their rooms. And you have not found an actual exit out of the catacombs from that point. So where are y'all wanting to go?
Turning to Sarai real quick, you know this area better than any of us. What is the quickest way for us to exit these tunnels and get to the closest place of knowledge, whether it be Rye list again? School,
Temple, bookstore, school, library.
Yes, any of those.
I suppose if you want to go to a bookstore, is there a particular size that you need? Or does any gathering of...
As long as it's got a place of knowledge, darling. It could even be a museum.
Museum?
Belongs in a museum.
Very well. This way then. And she leads you back through the room where Val had his commune and awoken again this morning.
We go.
I really don't like this place.
Back into the sewer system. And a short distance through these sewers to a side tunnel with a ladder that goes up out of a drain hole, essentially. It is carved into the wall, the rock wall here. She leads you up into an alleyway of the city above.
Hey,
And
Lauren,
yes.
before we go up, I'm going to look at everybody and say, all right, I would like to stick with the plan we came up with beforehand. So when we get to the top, Howard, can you stay with Vanera?
She's not leaving my sight.
Excellent. I'm leaving the city and coming back. I'm sticking with the plan. Albert, if you can protect Vanera for me. Rye, you can escort Howard to wherever you're going. I'm leaving the city to come back in so I can then speak to Desmond in a however fashion. Doran, I don't know where you wish to go. If you wish to come with me, fine. If you wish to go with them, I don't necessarily need an escort. Your accompaniment is always lovely, but that's entirely up to you. Pacetor, same goes to you. Once we reach the top, I'm going to start finding my way out one of the exits, and then I'll re-enter.
Are you sure you want to do this loudly?
Yes.
He needs to draw attention before Desmond finds out anything else.
Right. This is because the one got away. I want to draw as much attention as I can now. And so, yes, I'm going to stick with what Vanera said something to me last night that I can't remember, but it was something along the lines of do what you do best, and I am loud. I'm going to stick to that.
All right. Well, I'll get Halbert and Rye to be at least as far as the library, and
Keep me updated on progress.
And I'll cast Disguise Self and make myself look like one of the city guards, and give me a moment to make sure the coast is clear, and I'll head up the ladder first.
I'm going to reach out and touch Sullyax and cast invisibility. You have an hour, darling, to get out of the city.
Well, thank you.
Who's she talking
All right.
I will touch Doran. Wait, let me make sure I can do this. Is that 4th or 5th level? I will wait.
Well, I mean,
Invisibility is only up. Greater invisibility is only a minute. Never mind.
Oh,
well,
I
hold
might
on.
be able to cast
not
it
sure
at a higher
if
level
I'm
to get
with
both
or
of them.
Yeah, Doran, are you coming with me or no? If not, it's okay.
Odds I go with you, evens I stay with them.
Well, as we've been
Doran's just flipping a
walking-
coin. I love it.
I'm
Really?
compelled. All right, I'm going with you.
As we've
Okay.
been walking, I've been casting. I cast Identify on that feather.
Okay. Essentially what this feather is, let me pull this up here.
I will cast invisibility at 3rd level to go on both Sullyax and Doran, and then I'm also going to use Nystel's magic aura one more time on myself.
Okay.
Lauren, I've got my blue cloaky poncho cloak thing that I had made on, so that way I've got like blue and silver colors on me.
Okay. Good deal, good deal. Awesome. So you and Sullyax, Rye, did you cast invisibility on the both of them? Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay, good deal. So y'all are invisible, heading off in the city.
Yep.
Nystel's magic aura on Rye. Casator. That feather is essentially a combined spell for polymorph and Nystel's magic aura. And what it is for 1 hour, you decide on a new form, you take that new form, and to all divination magic, you are that new form that you take. It is a shapeshift that disguises you from scrying of trying to determine your
That's cool.
like if you
Like true sight and stuff.
kind of, yes. So it'll disguise you from things like divine sense, or a like if a specific magical effect were to target everybody but elves and you were disguised as an elf, you would be exempt from that particular effect. Things like that.
Cool. If I am in mental contact with somebody, do I have an idea of where they are? Even a direction?
Let me look up. I'm gonna say within a certain range, yes.
I was gonna say within the 30. I think it's either 30 or 60 feet.
Smokiness.
Because with your particular telepathy, I think it has to be a creature you can see.
Oh, you're right. See within 30 feet. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, then I cast Hex on Solyex as we go out so I can keep track.
Okay. You hex Solyex. What particular skill set does he have disadvantage on?
So ability. Okay, with an ability check. So one of the 6.
One of the 6.
He sucks at Dex already.
Oh yeah, make me disadvantage on my everything dex based. Instead of like con with or no con checks. Sure.
We're walking out of the city. Don't trip. I need to follow you and ride and make me invisible, and I can only do it for a minute.
This is why I hate Casador.
Casador, you're delightful. Don't listen to him.
Isator and Solyex have the relationship that Wes and I do.
It's amazing, and I love it. Okay, so
I'll follow them out, and I'll disguise self just as a average person that doesn't look like myself.
okay, good deal.
If you're following us, I'm going to look at you and just sort of on my best say, find door and a horse.
You are invisible. He does not see you, so he hears this quiet whisper in Solyx's voice saying, "Find door and a horse."
Yep.
Okay.
Give me a pony.
Wait, what? I'll whisper back to nothing, be like, is that in addition to Gygax?
Yes, I have Gygax. Doran needs a horse.
If I'm coming, do I need a horse?
Nope, you're gonna follow it. Oh, I don't know. Yes, sure. Get 2 horses.
Or do can I lead his horse?
Nope, 2 horses.
Got it. Will do.
Love this so much. Okay.
I'm like
So-
very tense, not trusting that he's like about to slap me from nowhere.
He feels hot breath over his right shoulder. Nothing.
Okay. So,
Super
Doran
wicked.
and Solyex. No. Doran, roll a stealth check at advantage. Solyex, have a straight roll. Yes, have a straight roll. And Kazator, you also have a straight roll for stealth.
I'm stealthed at advantage, which is really, really weird. That one was cocked, I think.
Okay, re-roll it. This is not a terribly difficult DC. It's like mid-morning at this point. So these streets are starting to get busier. There's a fair amount of activity that y'all can dodge, and enough for Kazator to be not remarkable moving through a light crowd.
That cocked one was like, it looked like it was a 10, and I re-rolled it and got a 4. My higher number is a 7, so
Okay.
it's a 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good advantage.
Solyex?
6.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
oh my God.
And
Loudest shadows in the world.
the one visible person with a 19.
Okay. So Kazator, you're making your way through the crowd.
There's
You're matching
times.
the flow of people. And ahead of you, you see these people who are sort of being jostled out of the way a little bit as they're running into these invisible friends walking in front of you. So within the first couple of minutes, you can see this effect and you can try to combat it. But you do see a couple individuals trying to look around and figure out what on earth happened. You do see one who walks towards the nearby guard and is like, there is something. I bumped into it. I couldn't see it. It was moving. It was weird. There's something going on here in the city. And the guard's like, it's okay, sir. Come down to the station, file a report again. It'll be fine.
He's a regular, apparently.
And this guard's going, or this older gentleman is going, no, it's not like last time. I promise. I actually bumped into something. It was there. And the guard's like, we'll do 1093B instead of 1093A. We'll fill out the proper forms this time to document this phenomenon. It'll be fine. Let's go.
Lauren, we're headed for, I'm going to the closest gate to wherever we are within the city.
Okay. Good deal.
Do I have any way of knowing where he's going? Because, truth be told, I would be trying to follow him, but like...
You're probably following Kazator.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. So y'all came out in the Bastion ward of the city. You do know this is where a number of smiths do make their business. This is where a number of the military training grounds are. Yes, a little bit distracted is okay. This is also the northernmost district of the city. So you can head... There's a gate midway through the district. The main roads all lead to it. It's not very difficult to find. So it's fairly easy to make your way out within 15 or so minutes of exiting the sewer system. Kazator, if you are looking for horses in particular, there are a number of stables. They do seem mostly dedicated to military use, but there are a few mounts that might be had for private sale. We'll go ahead and we'll deal with that now.
I'm with him.
Before we jump over to the other group. So the prices charged are a little heavier because Dragonstone is on an island. Most of the horses are either owned by the military or owned privately. There are a few that are rented out for private tours of the mountainside. Little day trips, essentially. That people can head out on. It's a little bit more touristy. Most of those, when you're inquiring about horses for sale and you're learning about this, with your natural charisma for making conversation, you pick up on this information fairly easily. Most of those facilities are more on the southern side of the facility or on the southern side of the city. If you want to get one of the horses for sale around here, it is going to cost a little bit extra. But they are, for the most part, well-bred, well-built, designed for more military use. So heavier, stockier, more muscled, more draft-type horses.
All the touristy ones are in the south.
Generally.
Okay. I walk around looking for the most amiable-looking salesperson, grumbling about Silyak setting me on this task and not giving me the group purse. And
I would have tried to make sure that he knows I'm with him because I can't see Sullyx.
Cool.
Okay, good deal. I love this. So Sullyx headed for the gate, invisible. Yep. Doran tried traveling along with him, but Sullyx is invisible. Doran's invisible too. They don't see each other at all, so Sullyx thinks Doran's with him. Doran has lost Sullyx, found Kazator in the crowd. Kazator's heading towards the stables, trying to find a good horse for sale.
This was a well thought out plan.
This is delightful and I love it. This is epic D&D, y'all, right here.
It's too real. We lost each other at the airport and we're wandering for hours.
Kazator, make an investigation check.
You know, I'm rolling so well tonight. Why not?
Can I help?
You're invisible. How are you going to help?
I have eyes. I can look for... He's looking for a sale person.
I'll let you also make an investigation check.
Okay.
12.
12. Okay.
Oh, no. No. Oh.
Okay, what was your result, Doran? Okay, for a total of...
Oh, gosh. Investigation. Oh, actually, it would have been a 6.
6. Okay, good deal. So, Kazator, you find a stable with some likely-looking creatures.
It was still...
And then you feel a tug on your arm.
It wasn't me.
As Doran is getting your attention, guiding you up the street, across the way a little bit, to a slightly seedier looking facility.
What are you doing? I found one. I found one.
I don't know what I'm doing, apparently. What?
Doran, you found the stable. There are definitely horses for sale here. And it looks a little bit under the weather. The owner could obviously use an inflow of cash, must be desperate to get rid of some horses. It just makes sense.
Oh, well, there you go.
If you want to buy your horse here, you can do that. I'm getting my horse from over there, and I will get yours too if you'd like.
I can't.
Just follow me. I'm the visible one. And I walk back.
Fine, go.
Okay, so you head back to the nicer, cleaner looking facility, Kazator, is that right?
I don't want to spend the money.
All right,
A
so
horse
there
never
are 4 or 5 riding mounts that are for sale here. They are priced between 80 and 100 gold pieces, depending on the particular mount that you want. The 100 gold at the upper end of the scale is this.
She's so excited about this. I wonder why.
I wonder why. It's not like I have any history with horses at all or anything. Nope.
None at all.
So you find this beautifully muscled buckskin draft horse cross who is very pretty, moves elegantly, and apparently as he is being sold, recently gelded, has no brains in his head at all. Gorgeous, great show price, no brains at all. On the slightly lower end of the spectrum, 80 gold pieces, a very lovely mare, very calm, a little older, just not quite up to the rigors of day-to-day life at the stable, looking for a slightly quieter home to take her in. And then a range of horses between the two of those. Decent quality, all of them. Nothing terribly wrong with any of them. They all are sound. There's no lameness issues.
I don't want to spend 100 gold here.
Something.
You. What'd he say?
I said, did you hear something to the shopkeeper in front of us?
Is
The
the
shopkeeper
in
is
front of us?
this...
Did we establish this?
We did now.
This older
saw my
halfling
hand
woman, graying hair, curly, cut short, so it's sort of like a halo around her head.
For the fan art, I
Very-
draw a hand axe and I just like pantomime like cutting him in his head and his butt.
Very calloused hands, sun-browned skin, dressed in tunic and pants, very sensible clothing. Worn, you can see, not for show. Her boots are well used. She is, looks like she is getting ready for a lesson of some kind with some, like, young teenagers who are working the horses for her. And she is starting to guide them through. They're heading out into this small arena that they have at the back of this facility.
Too real.
I think that's the point.
I've never been in this situation. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think I used to work there.
Oh no, are you describing yourself?
Yes, I'm obviously a middle-aged halfling or an elderly halfling woman with curly gray hair.
Artistic interpretation, my
See-
friend. I myself look very much like an elf with no facial hair.
Indeed, exactly.
6'6".
You hear her voice is echoing as she's starting to call directions to these younger teens that are beginning to work the horses. And she only quiets her voice moderately as she's talking to you, Kazator. She's describing the horses that are for sale and gives you this range of options. What are you wanting?
You have something a little cheaper, maybe a little bit older, looks less showy, probably named Buck.
Oh my gosh.
The dwarf face palms invisibly.
Roll persuasion at disadvantage.
Aw. Come on, double 20s. Oh, one was so close to a 20, but it doesn't matter. It was a 14, and it's the higher. So total though, what was it? Persuasion?
Persuasion at disadvantage.
Modified 20.
Of course it is.
I rolled a 9 with a plus 11.
Yep, that would do it. So she turns and she looks at you. Want cheaper? Go speak to the glue factory down the street. Ezra down there doesn't know how to treat his horses. If you want good quality mounts, will last you for a while and do what you need to do without throwing a shoe or bucking you off, then I'm right here when you've made up your mind.
Is Ezra the person I was interested in going to?
As a matter of fact.
Do the
Doran feels a little smaller.
Do you think the glue horses would last a day?
Oh my god.
A day. I sincerely hope they'd last a day, but I wouldn't bet money on any of his horses lasting for any length of time beyond the immediacy.
That's unfortunate. I could use a good bet. How about 2 of your 80 gold horses?
Seems legit.
Are you wanting to rent them for the day, or are you wanting to make a purchase? Because honestly, I don't know how I feel about selling my horses to you.
Who would pay 80 gold for a horse for a day?
No. That's a different. Are you wanting to buy them, or are you wanting for a day? Because we can come to an arrangement.
Who said anything about today? I want to buy them.
Right. Strange lad you are.
about to die.
Recognizing, of course, that you look to be approximately the same age as she is, but she's just like, you have no idea what you're doing. So you pass over the
I'm not half as
160
crazy as my
gold.
friend, and I point.
I stand there cross-armed. Alongside of him. And I just look at him and I smile.
There's a really nice doctor up the way. You might want to stop and take a visit there. But sure. 160 gold it is. And we'll make sure they're nicely labeled. Have this tack thrown in too. Just for you.
Freebies.
And you can see that these bridles and saddles all have the stamps of the livery here that she's running. Just in case they get lost, they can be returned to this facility.
Cool.
That's important that we change that later, because if we came in from out of town, we don't need that label being there.
We'll take care of that. As she's getting the horses, I do this and mutter a little bit, and I cast Prestidigitation to create a non-magical trinket or illusionary image, and I create a non-magical platinum piece. So I'll take care of 10 of it. And I'll pay the actual under 160 or whatever, 150. But I have a 10% coupon, or 10 gold coupon.
You know what? I don't think the spell's meant to be used like that, but we'll let it happen for now until I can look it up later.
I didn't push it because you can have up to 3 at a time, and I was gonna go for 3, but I was like, she's gonna get mad at me.
And case
I'll take my $10 and go home.
Look at this. This man's on some rogue stuff.
We'll get you that 10 gold piece discount, sure.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Yay.
So, mark
So
it up.
you've got your 2 horses. One's a gelding, one's a mare. Both are a little bit older, probably between 16 and 20. So well-trained, well-ingrained habits. They're going to be fairly push-button horses. One's this very pretty cherry bay. One is this other fairly plain-looking chestnut with a blaze down the face. Like they're solid horses. Both fairly well muscled and glossy coats, very pretty.
I will believe you. I know nothing about horses.
This is what we
They
get
have
for letting the
legs.
equestrian DM.
Should have gone with the buck.
This is exactly what you get.
They have 4 legs.
And a tail.
What? I learned something.
Shocking.
As we lead them out the city to Doran, I'll just say,
What, we?
as I lead them out and you walk
Yeah.
with,
Don't step on him.
I say to Doran, I know you're a little short on funds and didn't want to spend this money. How do you feel about overselling them to Soyaks and splitting the profit?
Man, your brilliance. It's no wonder you keep getting in trouble. How high do you want the numbers to go?
Oh my god.
They cost 150. I bet we can tell them they were 200. We'll get 25 gold each.
Right deal.
Done.
All right, let's see if we can make that work.
Okay, so you head out the city.
I don't
gate.
tell Casator, but I actually have like 500 gold. I just didn't want to spend it.
You've been buying a lot of material and stuff.
I want to buy so much mithril if only I could find it. Or electrum or some magical metal. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, so you do eventually reunite with Soyaks outside the city gates after the invisibility wears off and you're able to find each other again. Out of view of the majority of people here, you can head up the coast about an hour or so to get completely out of the sort of suburbs of the city. Find a nice quiet little grove where you can reunite as a group. While y'all are doing that, yes, Doran?
I was just gonna say, I make a point on the saddles and all that stuff. I take any kind of all the iconography or whatever, the labels from her stable. I take all that stuff off, and I pocket it in the bag or whatever, so that way, like, it can go back later. But right now, we don't need anyone knowing where we got them horses.
Okay. For leather that is stamped like that, you can.
Oh, it was stamped on? I thought it was other stuff. Okay.
No, like it's actually tooled into the leather, so you
Yeah,
can cut
okay.
that leather out, and while y'all are reuniting, take some time to sew some patches on it if you like. Or you can scuff it over and scar it up so it's illegible.
Can I cast mending on it?
Wouldn't that it to the way it was when we got it?
Here's what you can do. You can try to patch it and use the mending cantrip to mend the gaps between the new leather and the old leather so that it's a more seamless transition and less obviously a patch if you want to take the time to do that. It's still going to be slightly discolored, but it'll be a lot more subtle than just scarring it up or cutting it off.
I mean, yeah, that's fine.
I have leatherworking tools, and I know leatherworking from making leather armor. So
Right, which is what would let you patch it in the first place, rather than just having this big gap where you cut things out.
Between the two of us, we'll figure it out.
I do that. We do that.
Okay.
We
Good
do
deal,
that.
good deal.
I do that.
While y'all are doing that, it is
Yes.
edging towards noon by the time y'all are going to start heading back into the city. Halberd and Rye and Val, and Sarai, and Vanera, if she is still in the charm necklace.
Yeah.
The 5 of y'all.
Party, man.
Well, actually, as soon as we're all ready to split, I'll look at Sarai and say, it's probably better if you're not traveling with us, just in case we're to get spotted. Can you make your way, meet up with us at Gertie's at some point?
I can do that. When?
Let's say this evening, shortly after closing.
Very well.
And then what's the closest place of knowledge to here?
And you'll have emerged into this alleyway, and she gestures out of the alleyway and to the right a little bit, and just up the way there's a bookshop. It should suffice for your needs, I believe.
Thank you, darling. Anything else, or shall we away?
Yeah. Question. There's a dragon throne. Do I get the picture walking around with a giant displacer beast would cause problems?
You haven't seen any large creatures like that out on the streets since you've arrived here. In your understanding of other urban environments, these particular creatures don't commonly travel through the streets. It'd probably be something fairly noteworthy if it was just walking along with a group of individuals.
What species is Vanera? Is she human?
Human.
Well, no time like the present to make an entrance, so I'm going to hop on Nightbane.
I don't know that that's the best route to do this. If Vanera is still asleep, we can mask her as a wayward child we're carrying around.
I think that would actually be a better idea than Nightbane at this point.
Vanera stays inside the charm until we get her safely where she's supposed to be. I trust nothing in this city, and I trust no one here.
You're not going to
well,
get
that's
her
what they're
anywhere
talking,
safely with the
actually.
displacer beast.
I don't count you as part of this city. You're not part of the problem we walked into. You're hopefully part of the solution we're bringing with us.
Well, then at this particular moment, I think we should discuss another option, which is leaving Nightbane somewhere safe, or sending Nightbane with Sarai, something that does not draw attention, because as we've seen in the city, even the slightest disturbance can bring attention to us.
Oh, I'd say
That was my mistake when we first entered. Let's learn from it. And
Caution to the wind.
it would be better to either treat Vanera as a normal child, or if you're absolutely adamant about leaving her in the necklace, then giving Nightbane a place to stay for the moment while we go up the way. About how far is the turning back to Sarai? About how far is the bookshop from here? Time-wise?
It's just up the way. 2 minutes walk easily. Perhaps less. It's just on the right side of the street here. It's called Bound to Please.
Please.
When you disguised yourself, were you using your armor, or is that an actual...
That's an actual spell that I have.
Darling, would you be able to cast it on Vanera to make her look like a little elven child?
I believe I can only cast it on self. Hang on.
I believe it's only on self. Disguise
Yes.
self.
And I can only do it once per day.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, that wouldn't work on Vanera. Although, do you have a charm or anything that might?
I have myself, darling. The
Okay,
charm
so
will
we're
cover
in the
myself.
same boat, unfortunately. So, can Nightbane stay here out of the way for a couple minutes while we roam? Or if you want, or if you really want, we can go get to the bookshop. I'll come back for Nightbane. That way, I'm walking separately from y'all, and we don't have Nightbane drawing attention to you and Vanera. Because anything that draws attention to you draws attention to her for the time being.
I'm not going to be able to delay getting us to the library. As soon as we get to the bookshop, we're going straight there. So if you leave us, you will not be joining us at the library.
That was my intention from the get-go, was to not go to the library with you, but get you to the bookshop or whatever. I don't like the idea of leaving things as they are without someone who can send messages to you and Halberd.
I'll dismount off Nightbane, scratch underneath his jawline, point at Sarai and say, "You make sure she's guarded. Nothing touches her if it's got ill intent." And then I'll look at Val, I'll look at Rye, nod, and be willing to slip into the shadows and move off towards... What is this place called? Bound to Please? What was it again?
Bound to please.
Bound
Yeah.
to Please.
No, I have a feeling this is gonna be bad.
Does Val still look like a city guard?
Yes.
Rye's gonna look at me like, no, none of this. None of this. I'm not walking through the city with this.
You get to make a lot of demands, and you talk
At
very
this
little.
point, Halberd, you're in the shadows or stepping into the shadows, right?
Mm-hmm.
You notice that the deepest, darkest corner of this particular alleyway is already occupied, as a very familiar elven form steps out and says, "She's right. The guard will only attract attention."
Well,
Hello.
Hello, darling.
Right.
We're heading back to the library for a brief moment, and I can fill you in once we have a moment.
Or he can
Very
stay
well.
here.
I'm just gonna start heading up the ladder.
Oust, having emerged from the shadows, shoots you a glare, Halberd,
I'm gonna
and
smile.
follows with Rye.
I'm going to stay down in the tunnels.
Okay, so you.
I thought we were already up at the top.
Yeah, y'all are in the alley, up above. So the
Okay,
busy
if we're in
city
the alley.
street is just about 80 or 100 feet from the sewer entrance here. So are you so Rye's fixing to head back down into the sewers to traverse through the system to find a point that's more easily heading towards Gertie's shop. Are you sending Nightbane with her? Are you going with her? What's the plan?
I sent Nightbane with her, so I guess I'll just start walking back that way.
Darling, if you actually care about that child, you will do this, and we will answer questions later.
Right, you kept on saying that constantly.
You have asked no questions up until now, and the moment whenever it is serious and we have a child's life on our hands, this is the moment you want to ask questions. We will have time after this. Let's get to safety first.
I have no problem taking the child with you. I don't necessarily trust your companion right now. Now, you asked me to trust you. You're putting me into a double negative at this moment. I'm simply saying you're telling Val, don't draw attention with the guards. I appreciate that. I'm not even excited about going to your library, but I'm willing to do so. My request is that in the same way you're requesting Val, don't wear the armor. Your friend can move around very well unaided. You don't need Oust with you at this moment. I feel it's a very fair request. I'm willing to go with you. I'm willing to meet your demands. I'm willing to wait and ask my questions later, but you keep on putting chips in your corner. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Yeah, I can't possibly imagine why I would need chips in my corner at this moment. And I'm going to look at Oust and say, darling, you have heard the directions we're going. If you can wait, I don't know, a few paces behind until this one starts moving. And I'm just going to start walking off.
Making friends everywhere.
Leans into the shadows and glares at Halberd.
Yeah, that's a nice little nod back at him. Sit, stay.
Are you following Rye?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'd also like to see if he's following me.
Make a perception check.
Me 5.
You look back at the shadows. He doesn't. You don't see when he moved, but he's not there anymore. You're looking around. You don't see him following you. You're
He's
just not
mad.
quite sure where he went.
I'll dip in the shadows as well.
Okay.
I'll drop the disguised self and just walk with Rye.
Okay. The bookshop is well marked, easy to find. It is fairly popular for having opened relatively recently. There are a handful of people that are already perusing the shelves inside. Rye, are you calling it to the library as you enter the doorway?
Before I get there, whenever Halberd reappears to go through, I'm going to take a moment to stop and say, darling, you're going to get some looks while you're in there. Just ignore them, and please do not instigate anything. There's only so much I can do. And then I will open up the door and motion if you would like to go ahead.
After you.
No, I need to close this, because if I go through, the portal closes.
Well, that's fair enough, and I'll step on through.
Okay.
I will follow.
Are you allowing Val to come through also?
Val's not going through.
Val's not going through. Okay.
Val's staying behind so he can message them if something goes wrong.
Good deal, good deal. So you step through, and the sight that meets you is a very welcome homecoming. The stone-carved bookshelves, this beautiful, elegant, multi-tiered level to the library is open and airy. It is cool and comfortable. The lighting is not directly bright. You don't see the sun itself. The busy humdrum of activity welcomes you. The guards stationed around the entrance do turn to you, and as Halberd, as you step forward without Rye, in that first brief moment, they do turn and brandish weapons. As Rye steps through also, these half-dozen individuals do relax slightly, and they turn to Rye.
Hello. We're headed over to see Gaspin over at the Temple of Bahamut. How's your wife doing?
She's well. Thank you for asking. You are due for dinner next time you come. You look busy this time, I suppose.
Yes. Well, life of the librarian and all. But please tell her yes. And I don't know, does she want anything while I'm out and about? Cookies? Is she having any sort of needs from the outside world?
If you could bring any of that peanut brittle like you brought last time,
Yes,
that went over very well.
Fabulous. Will do. Well, we do need to be on our way, but please tell her hello for me.
Very well. They do turn to you, Halberd. The two that are closest to the exit, as Rye passes in front of you and leads you out, they do turn and speak in harmony as you approach. We acknowledge your affinity with the Sanctum of the Tree. Welcome, runner.
I'm going to salute very cordially.
And you salute.
Sanctum of the Tree. How many guards do I see? And what armor are they wearing? What type of weapons are present?
In the immediate vicinity, right around this entrance area, you see half a dozen. As you emerge, there is a much larger area, and you realize that this particular entryway, as Rye begins walking, is not the actual library itself. You see a finely crafted substructure that is built into this canyon cliff face. And as Rye begins walking, you are led through this beautiful cityscape. Well-populated, bustling, busy activity, and there are multiple guards that are patrolling and on guard as you are led through the town. You see a number of spacious areas for people to gather. As you're walking through these streets, there are homes and there are shops. There are couriers and criers that are handling postage and delivering news and messages. And as you are led specifically down this path, Rye knows this very well, though she doesn't necessarily have to travel it often herself. Rye's familiar with the way through this city to the library itself.
So
Rye, are you giving explanation for what is happening as you're leading, or are you just walking, leading him along?
I'm just walking. If we see the ants set up in the market, I will dodge past to steal some fruit from the stand, but otherwise heading straight to the temple.
Okay, make a perception check as you're passing through the market itself.
$23.
23. The aunts do have their shops set up. They have their little stand with their variety of produce spread out. As you run by and steal a piece, are you being at all stealthy about it?
No.
So as you run by and nab your piece of fruit, they call out greetings and say, Steady was looking for you. Is everything all right?
Yes, everything's fine. Yes, I'll see you later.
Make a deception check.
I did not hear that.
I think
at
it's along the lines of yes, everything's fine.
Albert, you should just walk by afterward. It's not fine.
No, I'm full on smiling right now, just like walking, strolling rather calmly, cordially.
13.
13. You get this very insightful look that the aunts know you, Rye. There's no hiding this from them. So as with the tone of your voice, you can hear it as it's leaving your mouth, where you didn't modulate it quite well enough. You know that they know something's up. And as you're walking away, it's like, we'll just ask Steady then. Be safe, Rye.
Yes, I think he would be wonderful to talk to instead of me. All right, let's go. The temple is this way.
Do I get the picture that this all is the sanctum, or am I moving towards the sanctum? So, like, is the sanctum on a specific plane, or do I get the impression this is all the library sanctum?
Make an intelligence check.
Modified 20.
Modified 20. Very impressive. When Rye opened the door and you passed through the door into this place, you felt the same sensation that you get passing to or from your sanctum. It is that almost coolness of this rush of air, this twist in, like, right behind your gut as you almost have the sensation of falling. And so you expected to come into this sanctum, this room like you were familiar with your sanctum. And so you don't know quite what it means that you emerged into this building that opened into this massive space, this canyon-side city. And it's built from the little glimpses you saw on both sides of the canyon, with multiple bridges and thoroughfares connecting either side. It is outside of any of your expertise. It is significantly larger by a magnitude of order or more than anything you would have expected from any previous sanctum you would have come across.
Cool.
So, Rye, you know the path fairly well through stacks to the temple. You traverse it, and as you're walking, several people call out greetings. They ask if you are on a particular job. They're waving. You're well known and well respected in the city. But you make your way to the temple itself. Is there a particular priest you're looking for?
Probably Gaspin, but I think as soon as we get towards where the temple's at, I'm going to take a moment to do a quick little rite to Bahamut. Just sort of my standard give Donner my love before looking around to see if I can find Gaspin.
Okay. You perform your rite and make a religion check for me.
Ooh, not great. 8.
You perform the rite, you light the candle of remembrance as you usually do, and you feel like there's a brief flare of light and warmth, but it's hard to tell, and you're a bit distracted in this moment as you're passing through. Make a perception check for me.
Do I catch her doing this? I'm guessing she's not making a not show of it.
Yeah, it's just something I'm doing.
She's treating it, this little rite, very matter-of-factly. She's not being stealthy about it.
And it's a 23 for perception, Lauren.
23. So yes, Gaspin is currently performing his own little rite at one of the shrines that he's upkeeping here. cleaning and performing the rituals to continue on. You wait to a point where you know where it can be paused respectfully, and you approach at this point.
Gaspin, darling, I need a request of you if you have time.
And he turns. For you, Rye, absolutely. How may I be of service?
I'm going to look back at Halberd and say, we have an Oracle of Bahamut who is needing refuge, and I was hoping you might have access to the chapel that we could take her there.
Such can be arranged. Absolutely. An oracle, you say?
Yes, darling, would you be comfortable bringing her out?
I'm looking. Question, Lauren. Couple
Yes.
of things. So, just based off the city, the way things are set up, what type of vibe, what type of feeling would I be getting off of this? Like, am I very? There are situations that automatically put you in tension. There are situations and places that automatically feel relaxing,
Mm-hmm.
a lot more calming.
All right, here's what we're going to do. Make an insight check and make a perception check.
Alrighty. So those were not great. The insight was not bad. That's oh. Okay, they're both modified 20s.
Okay, both modified
that's great.
20s.
I rolled a
Good
13 and a
deal,
9.
Good deal.
So my modifiers actually worked well on that.
Must be nice.
Yes. Yes. On the two things, it works out well. It's not stealth though.
Okay,
You're never
So-
satisfied.
both modified 20.
Yes.
Halberd, you get the sense that the people who live in the city are generally happy. The tone of it is bright, it is generally cheerful, it is bustling, it is fairly warm. As people were calling greetings to Rye, they were pleased to see her, and her presence among them was greeted with honor and respect. The general tone of the city itself is fairly positive. You know, the streets are well maintained, they are clean swept. You haven't seen any particular signs of deep poverty or crime. From what you have seen, it is a beautiful city. It's generally, with the insight, it's generally comforting to see how it's set up and how the people are interacting.
So, kind of along those lines, sorry, forgive me.
You're fine.
Sometimes when you walk into a location, it can look really pretty, and you feel this just weight of spiritual oppression, like this deep weight on your soul, and other places you walk in, and it's a breath of fresh air. Kind of along that line of what I'm going for, especially with the shrines and the rites to Bahamut,
Mm-hmm.
which is a deity that, as much as I deeply respect in a fearful manner, I also very much appreciate.
So you're not getting any of that sense of spiritual darkness. Even Halberd has felt that sort of oppressive atmosphere very distinctly when you were at in the vampire's lair at the keep. You felt that sort of weight of darkness. In the Rusalka's lair, you felt this sort of oppressive weight, and there's none of that here.
Yes, all of the Feywilds, Wes.
If anything, it reminds you of the temple in Farendale when Sarai was doing the ritual with Bahamut. That was a very heavy spiritual presence, but it wasn't oppressive at all. It was warm and it was life-giving. And this is not that heavy, but it has elements of that same.
Cool. And I'm going to look around and just say, do you have a garden?
Of course.
Let's bring
Of
her
course we
out
do.
there. Warmer, safer. A little bit more homely.
Sort of
As you
motion towards where we need to go.
Sarai walks with Gaspin, leading the way. As you walk, Rye, are you walking in silence? Are you speaking with Gaspin?
I think I'm probably giving him just a really quick rundown. We've come to learn that it appears that Tiamat is in Dinagon, and the child that we're about to bring out is an oracle of Bahamut, but we saved her right before some denizens of the Nine Hells attempted to take her to Avernus for what I can only assume is some sort of ritual sacrifice.
It is grave news.
Yes.
We have seen no sign of her passage from the Hells. You're certain she is physically on Dinagon?
I'm not certain, but we have learned that Balal has his forces on Dinagon, and he's working with an ally who is identified as the Grey Mother. So,
I see how that would be concerning.
yes.
How are you faring?
I'm fine, darling.
He raises an eyebrow and looks at you.
I miss Donna, but I'm fine.
We all miss Donna. He would be proud of you, I think, and the work that you do.
Yes, well, Vanera, we need to get Vanera to safety, and I was hoping the chapel might be a good spot since it's disconnected a bit from the library, but it is still close enough that should she need access, we are able to get to her.
Very well. The garden is just this way. I'm curious to where this oracle is. Are you going to pull her from thin air?
Quite similarly, darling, yes. Halberd's charm on his necklace is a fancy little space. He usually keeps a displace of East in there, but we felt like an oracle of Bahamut was also appropriately settled.
As needs must.
Yes, darling.
This way. And he leads you into the garden, and it is warmly lit. It is a very comfortable space. It is well tamed, but with elements of beautiful plant growth. There are a number of benches and seating areas, and a wide grassy knoll. That is a
Those are
beautiful
your
open
birds.
space.
Jokes, don't worry about it.
Okay. Halberd, do you bring Vanera out?
Find a nice place, kind of next to, if there's any form of water, and then flowers. So you'd have a nice moving sound, and you'd also have a good smell.
Okay.
I'll put it right there.
The flowers are easily found. You can find some amaryllis and nasturtium, and a number of very, very bright and colorful, very fragrant flowers. And there's not any particular moving water in this place. There is a set of wind chimes if you're wanting something that is going to be more sound oriented, not terribly distant.
You know, just someplace that isn't eerily quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So
And there are a number of sounds of, like, the city itself is distant and muffled. It's much quieter here in this holy place. And you can hear the echoes of hymns and chanting and what sounds like a not a lecture, but an elder teaching and coaching a group of students through a call and response type catechism, essentially. So there's definitely sounds of life, and it is warm and it is comforting here. So you think this is probably a pretty decent place to bring her out if you're looking for that sort of thing.
Yep.
Okay, so you go ahead and you pop her out. She is still unconscious. I assume you untied her and removed her bounds.
Yeah.
Before you transported her.
I knew we forgot something.
So her breathing is normal. She is unwounded, but she is still has not awoken.
Aspen, can you help her wake up?
Certainly. And he steps forward, and you see his hands start to glow with this warm golden light. And you see her form start to almost absorb the light as he reaches his hands close to her shoulders. It's like, oh. And then you see a sort of shift come over his face, and he tries a different spell. And as he brings his hands closer again, her body seems to absorb the light. It's like, well, that's not necessarily good. She will not awaken.
What's wrong?
I'm not sure. It seems there is some force that is preventing her from full waking. What happened? Do you know?
Bad stuff.
Yeah.
Bad stuff.
I'm gonna kind of look to Halberd for help. There was a bone devil and several dragon fiends. They got her whenever she was already asleep.
A couple of imps in the presence as well. Is there a way to detect what type of magic might be holding her?
Unfortunately, that is not a skill I have prepared for this particular day. Those at the chapel may well be able to assist where I cannot. It is well that you brought her here.
Do you know, will they be able to to get her soon, or is that going to be a longer arrangement?
I can open the gateway. I do
If
not
you
know
would,
if they will
please.
be currently available, but if you wish, I can wait with her and guard her on your behalf. I do not know how long you desire to wait.
I don't think we're going to be able to leave here until she is awake and resolved. But if you can go ahead and get in contact with them, we'll remain with her.
I will return very shortly.
I'll sit down and just run my fingers through her hair.
Okay. So Gaspin leaves, and the peace in this particular location is warm and welcoming. And Rye, a few moments later, you hear the pounding of feet, and a familiar form comes around the corner. Halberd, you see let me make sure I'm describing him correctly. Pulling up notes, where is it? Okay. You see a tiefling. Very reminiscent of Rye's particular features. The dark skin, the dark hair. He is in these very simple, loose fit clothing. The sleeveless top belted around his waist, looser baggy pants, sandals on his feet. He is jogging towards Rye with this massive grin on his face. He is portraying this sort of very gregarious attitude. As he approaches, you can see what you first took to be dark hair is more brown in nature, and it is in loose curls that are tied back from his face. Red eyes glow out of the light as he gets close, and he greets Rye with a smile. Cousin, would you give me a hug?
I think this is one of those. This is one of those moments where, like, she sees him coming and she embraces him, and then it's just like kind of melting. Like, oh, this is family. Oh goodness sake! You haven't told the ants anything, have you?
I haven't been to dinner the last couple nights.
Wait till I leave.
You sure?
Am I sure?
No, they want to know. Don't make me lie for you, Rye, please.
You don't have to lie for me. You can tell them everything that's happened. I just would rather not be here, especially with Aunt Lonnie. So, just You go to dinner with them after I leave. And you tell them whatever your little heart desires.
Right. No.
I'm your favorite cousin.
You're my only cousin.
Yes, darling.
Don't know if that works that way.
How else is this? Do you have another favorite cousin?
Oust. Oust is my favorite cousin.
Good to you.
Not yet. One day. When are you going to get on that?
I don't know what you're talking about. This is Halbert.
Do I pick up if there's actually something in there on that slight joke?
This
Make an insight check.
Yes, 26.
oh man, it's like the Sarai conversation.
At
But
least you roll
reversed.
good when it counts.
Halberd,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's okay.
you get the sense Steady is completely wholehearted in calling out his cousin. Rye is a bit affronted, and Brenda, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. What's the word I'm looking for? Not. She
Mortified.
recognizes she's being teased, but that doesn't mean there's not a kernel of truth in the teasing.
So mortified is the word we're looking for.
No, it's definitely one of those. This is a long-standing conversation, and she's just trying to sail right past it.
This is everything I needed today. Thank you so much.
Speaking of oust, Halberd, pleasure to meet you. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Speaking of oust, did he find you yet? I sent him your way.
Yes, he did. If you find him on his way over here, if you can just hold him off a little bit.
I'm gonna nod my head and just say, like, no, just bring him on if he wants.
You say that, and he looks over at you, and then he looks at Rye, and then he does sort of a...
Yes, darling. Yep.
Gosh, I wish the dwarf had gone with them.
Right?
It's made the last couple of weeks very fun.
That must have been an interesting conversation.
No, that hasn't been a conversation. You think he has a conversation about this? We're talking about us, darling.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. For an interference on that.
I would appreciate it so much. Oh my goodness. I have missed you dearly.
Miss you too, Rye. Everything's going okay so far, right?
I have
You're,
no
you're here,
concerns.
you're safe. Are you home?
No, we do need to go back, but everything's fine.
She left a few idiots out in the field.
Great.
Okay.
Oh, we're all gonna die.
I mean, other than what's actually happening on Dinner Garden, everything's fine with me.
Well, definitely, but
You know, you
Then
say
again,
that, and you've got
it
that
ain't-
grin.
I don't know,
Don't
what
know
you're talking
how
about,
much I
darling.
believe you.
No, you should believe everything I say.
And he just bursts out laughing. Oh, Rye.
I don't know you very well, if at all.
This is
I'm
Steady.
finding
I
myself-
mentioned him the first time we met.
But I'm finding myself wishing that I actually did, so.
I feel like I would very much like to make your acquaintance too.
Maybe in better times and better places, there'd be much more time for a nice long conversation, but
A long conversation. Yes.
maybe a
When-
meeting.
When you get some
Conversation, darling.
time, you should
Conversation.
come back to the library here. Spend some time in Stacks. I think you might find it.
Stacks. What is a stacks?
This is Stacks.
Yeah, Raya's gonna just motion grandly.
This
Stacks.
Stacks. Stacks. Right, you haven't explained everything, have you? You haven't explained anything, have you?
We have a winner right here.
You are right, sir.
There's a child
But
in need of
her
safety.
in her defense, I have not asked questions until what she has been very straightforward, bold, somewhat rude, but also rather honest in affirming that probably was not the best time to ask said questions.
I mean,
Although I will say, darling, we have until however long Gaston gets back to deal with Vanera, and then after Vanera. So if you have questions, and you've got study here to answer
Not
some of
ridiculous.
them.
Or dumb.
Max, let's start with the basics. The library is a sanctum.
Is this all the library?
This is Stacks. This is the library.
Yes. Stacks,
It hurts.
those...
I'm taking notes, y'all.
Good, because my head hurts.
Those
head
who
That's true.
support the library or have retired from the library or support those who support the library or are related to those who support the library or just live here. There are some people who just live here. This is Stacks.
People living in the library.
Stacks is the city. So the library came first,
Yes.
and then the library needed something to both support it and its people, so it built Stacks. So this is Stacks. But the library is the foundation.
It's
See,
a growth.
Right,
all
this
of
is
this
why you do the
is-
talking.
All of this is part of the library sanctum.
You see, if you're a member of Stacks, you're not necessarily a librarian or an archivist. I'm sorry, Jordan, you're like right here. See, if you're a member of Stacks, you're not necessarily a member of the library. You're not a librarian or an archivist. You're part of the support system that maintains the library or the archives.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Which
Stacks sits on top of the library.
It's a stack of books.
basically. In a
And there's
bookstore.
north Stacks and south Stacks, connected by the bridges.
Exactly.
Exactly. How could I ever not know that? There's some wry sarcasm thrown in there.
So, clarity for players, even though I'm not there, Stacks is like Sanctum DLC.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like.
yeah, that sounds accurate.
You know, just to help everyone have a reference point.
So
For
the
the-
library is a very large and well-established sanctum. You've
Yes.
gathered this from everything Rai has said.
I wasn't there, but sure.
No, I mean over previous discussions, you have learned this. You've gathered this information. Halberd is now learning that this sanctum is supported by this group of people who are not necessarily librarians, but who make their living in this same sort of infrastructure. The sanctum itself is the library and the archives. There were two separate sanctums that have merged. Stacks is sort of the city that grew and developed over time to support the people who are runners and keepers, librarians and archivists, essentially.
So it's attached to, but is not exactly the same thing.
So,
Essentially.
Okay. That makes sense.
foundlings, most of the people who are at the library, either foundlings, and if they are not foundlings, they're the children of foundlings who have been brought to the library and were trained up through the library. And then at a certain point, we make the decision to either become a librarian and archivist, or to move into Stacks, or to separate ourselves from the library completely.
They're like-
So
The little fishes that grab onto the sharks.
Stacks is the
I'm trying to.
Well,
understand.
not. It's a symbiotic relation.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I got you.
So all of the people who are in Stacks
Mind is
chose not to be
becoming
Librarians are archivists proper, but to be the support system to assist us in the work that we do.
Light wrestling, and you just see him, Halberd, and he's like, all right, okay, I need to do this. Right, I need to offer you an apology, and I hope you do accept it. I understand in the catacombs and in the tunnels, I was very rude. I'm going to look at Vanira and say, well, twice I've had to pull this young one out of danger, and that's twice more than I could actually pull my own daughter out of danger.
Mm-hmm.
Having all the new information about you that I realize I don't actually know who you are in fullness. I know you, but I also don't know where you come from. And having connections on a plane of existence in a world that honestly I would rather keep that plane of existence in that world there, I became very protective of what little bit reminds me of what family I had. And I aggressively took that out on you and became overly protective of things that maybe I should not have. So I hope that you will accept my apology for that. It was not right to gear that at you. And you have been very, very kind and very, very faithful to myself and our friends. So just for my own part, sitting here with quite nothing in another world where I actually have no idea where I am, and once again, I'm very vulnerable and very weak, I feel it is well deserved and well warranted to actually say, I am sorry, and I do hope you will forgive me. And I hope that you can slightly understand. But if you can't, I'm sorry all the same.
Children are precious, in all their forms. Yes, I very much accept your apology. I am dedicated to the library. This place has been my home for the majority of my life, and I would do utmost to protect it. So I do recognize I have been reticent to discuss certain things with you that might have given you some of this enlightenment. So for that, I offer my own apologies. And it's a very quick change of thought process, but speaking of family does remind me, could I have my monocle back?
Oh, I am so sorry. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was not meant to be held on to. What little family heirlooms are precious. How long have you been here, Guy? May I ask that question? I can tell that this place is very special to you.
I was 6 months of age. Seti was, and I'll kind of look at him, 2.5, I believe. when
About
we
there,
arrived.
yeah.
The ants, the people that we passed by, they're the ones who raised us.
Halberd, you're putting the connection now between the two Genasi that Rye passed by the fruit stand. You'd seen some of the air currents swirling around one, and a very sort of crystalline jewelry off of the other. Their fondness for Rye makes sense now, combining that with the information Steady had given about the aunts and now what Rye has said.
Teddy, are you a librarian? I don't know if that's deemed a runner or not. I'm actually not sure on anything about formalities of sanctums. Now I've been told by my friends I'm not very good at formalities at all.
So sorry, Steady.
You're the talker, Rye. It's okay though. I am a librarian. I'm a research librarian. A bit different specialty from my cousin here. I do a fair bit of work here in the city. It's enough to keep me busy. I don't travel near as often as Rye.
The acquisitions librarians and retrieval archivists are the main runners that you'll find here at the library, and then we've got research librarians and research archivists, similar to Steady, who maintain the resources that have been brought here, and There's others like de-accession librarians who, if an artifact or an item that's brought is terribly dangerous, they'll work to actually destroy it to prevent it from becoming a larger issue. So you've got a variety of different positions here.
Most of us have the same foundational training. We all go through a training period as younglings, but we specialize once we know what we're wanting to do.
And when did you find out what you were wanting to do? I'm sorry, I'm asking questions because I'm really curious about some of this lore.
Right.
Thank you for taking the time.
Albert's back. This is what we needed.
It's something you sort of learn over time. So I was about 3 whenever I started my initial training. And then whenever I was 15, I was brought on as an apprentice for Donna. And then whenever I was about 20, that's whenever I passed my assistantship exams and became an assistant librarian, and then recently an associate.
Donna.
Did she get her bachelor's?
Masters.
Oh.
I've recognized this name being used a couple of times. Donna. Someone of importance to you, to people around. Who is Donna? Seems to be spoken of with much affection, but missing.
He was my mentor.
I'm going to sit and just kind of wait, kind of like that look of, yep.
You don't get much of a response. There's just kind of like, it's very schooled, but there's definite pain in her eyes.
Steady's just sitting there in the awkward silence, just fidgeting, but looking at Rye, just like, not my story to tell.
No, Rye. We've hashed ways. My patrol, you might know my history. I was ambushed and killed, and I alone escaped. Tried to get back to my family and warn them just in time to find the burned remains of my village and my family that was left. I couldn't help my men, and I couldn't help my family, and I couldn't help my kingdom. So I understand pain and difficult stories. But if you'd be willing to share, I would actually love to hear a little bit of your mentor. You're very feisty and wise and fast with your words. And if he was your mentor, I'm sure that that largely came from his guidance and his leading, as well as your love for knowledge and language and preservation of that which is or can be beneficial.
According to the aunts, the only thing that happened as I aged is I grew taller. So I've never been particularly impressed or intimidated with persons that I've met. And that does not go over well with some here. They find that to be a bit difficult to work with. So when I was 15 and to take a mentor, there was a thought to give me to someone who could teach me better manners. And I don't know what led him to decide, but Donna stepped in and took me instead and cultivated what he already saw. He was wonderful, and it's not a difficult or upsetting story as your own. He died 2 years ago protecting another apprentice. But he was my world.
Steady steps a little closer and just grabs your hand.
I will do something uncharacteristic, and she looks slightly emotional, and I'm slightly emotional. I'll get up and go give her a hug. No one is here to witness this. And this stage here. And I'm going to say,
Putting this in my notes. Halbard has it.
he sounds like someone, the man right here, who I am today, wishes I could have met.
Well, darling, I do believe you probably would have shot him on sight, but
Why I said the man I am today, Rye.
and I think she's probably a little stiff when he initially hugs her, but does kind of like that. Oh, okay. Okay.
No. Halberd was a husband and a dad, so he actually does give really good hugs.
It's canon.
Albert gives
Yeah, I don't know any other characters who's gotten a howl with him.
No.
Nope.
Also, I will whisper. No one else knows about this.
Oh no, darling, that would completely destroy your image. We can't have that.
My image is already toast.
I'm so angry right now.
As soon as y'all get back, first thing, you'll never believe what happened. And no one would actually believe her.
Hey, show me this. No one will ever.
So after this brief moment, the two of you part, and there's a brief. You see Gaspin has returned, and the way to the chapel is open. If you would still care to make your way there.
Howard, would you like to carry Venera?
I'll pick Venera up and carry her.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
She's
Gaspin out.
light, a little heavier than she would be normally because it's all limp weight, but still way too light.
Just stick it in her hair while I go.
This beautiful blue flower stands out against her hair. Very fragrant. You are led through the larger sort of sanctuary area of the temple. Excuse me. And Halberd, you see there are a number of holy symbols here. Go ahead and make a religion check for me.
Oh, great. 12 plus, what's religion? 2? Sweet, 14.
14.
14.
So you recognize that there are several different symbols, but the one that really catches your eye is the symbol to Ayun. You recognize that from Kazator and what he has worn. There are others that you don't recognize off the bat, but that one catches your eye.
No temple, like archways or...
Archway.
Actually, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
As you're led through the sanctuary into a smaller side chamber, there is a doorway that opens, a wooden doorway. You walk through it, and there is a room, a large room that opens before you, mosaic tile floor, and it is significantly larger than you would have expected to fit into this space. It is massive. It is cool and echoing. There are banners of hundreds of various deities around the room. The mosaic tile on the floor has multitude of religious symbols and iconography set into this massive mandala shape, almost inscribed into the floor. This is the entryway of the chapel. And you are greeted by a priest dressed in fairly simple robes of pure white linen. He has dark hair that is currently tied back. This elven man steps forward to greet you and says, "Welcome to the chapel. we'll go ahead and we'll pause with y'all there. Val, what have you been doing?
Oh God.
He's been being haunted the whole time.
Actually, I am going to go see about. First thing I'm gonna do is send a message to Soliex and just, did you make it out okay? Are you still alive? Should I be worried? Please reply to this message.
I'm invisible. I'm by myself. Jason Thor's buying a horse.
That tracks. Then I will mark off that spell slot, because I had to use a 4th level for that. That hurts.
Jeez.
Yeah, sun's getting real low.
Early morning fights hurt.
Then I'm
Yeah, it's
actually
Get hit. That's crazy.
going to make my way out of back to the alley where we went, to where making sure nobody's around me, nobody can see me, or overhear the conversation that's about to happen.
Make a perception check.
That's not bad. 15 plus 8. Oh goodness. 23.
You step far enough away, you don't see anybody around.
Okay, cool.
The main path of traffic is fairly distant, and you feel pretty confident that you're alone.
All right, I'm going to send a message to Rissa.
Okay.
Are we still on schedule for your arrival tomorrow? Can you tell me where to meet you? Shoot, oh, we got 3 left. Or come today. That's very much a question mark at the end. Or come today?
I'm still on schedule to arrive tomorrow. Unfortunately, I can't make it today. I plan to land just outside the city gates. Will that work?
All right. Yes. I'll send another message. So long 4th level spells. Yes. Try to be a little ways outside the gate. It's dangerous here. The children have infiltrated the church. It's all bad, very, very bad.
It seems stealth is called for. I don't suppose you can give me a better landmark? A tower, or perhaps significant location?
Oh, I hate my life. Fine, I'll burn my last 5th level. I can do some scouting and reply tomorrow. Or go
I'm
ahead.
going to pause you real quick before you actually compose your spell.
Okay.
Flying into the city, you did see 3 lighthouses on the coast. The 2 towers at the mouth of the harbor that are figures that are standing sentinel, essentially. The Guardians, the Dragon's Gate. And you did see one that is slightly smaller on the southernmost tip of the peninsula.
Okay.
That is a little ways distant from the city. So those are 3 more significant landmarks if you wanted to use one of those.
Okay, fair enough.
You also
that actually
know,
does help.
right. You also know the Bull's Head Plaza in the city. It would probably be enough to give her a location to land in. Or Dragonheart, the main temple district, if you thought you could get in there somewhere, would also be significant enough for her to land on.
Terrifying.
We've also got Rogerty too.
Yeah, there's, let's see, there's lighthouses we can use. There's also a shop that may be a safe place. If I pulled out the journal, could you home in? I need an emergency parachute if the other 2 don't work. And this is my last spell I can use.
Oh, it's fair. I just don't like it.
Oh, I don't like it either. What do you think I said? I hate my life. Your fate being me life. Right.
The lighthouses will definitely work. The shop may. And I can home in on the journal. But I don't know if that's entirely safe.
Me either.
Don't know if wise.
All right, and then since I've burned through, I have 3 first level and 1 6th level. That's all I got left, y'all. Oh no, I'm sorry, 3 second level. So yeah, I'm going to make my way to. I'll actually make my way to Gertie's.
Okay.
And once I get to Gertie's, just be like, all right, so things are bad. They're very, very bad. They've just gotten worse since the last time we talked. And I'll make sure she and I are alone for this conversation. Things are bad. They've gotten very, very bad. They're so much worse than the last time we talked. I have so much to fill you in on. That being said, we are going to need to gather supplies because I have a feeling this fight is going to be a vicious one. So could we start putting together a list of supplies that we may have access to, stuff we may need to buy, and stuff that we can create on our own in the meantime while we wait for bad things to happen.
And you're saying all of this to Gertie? Is that right? Am I understanding that correctly?
Sorry, yeah. Pull Gertie, like, ask Gertie if there's a back room. I know it's getting late, so I was like, all right, let me shorten this version and talk really, really fast. So yes, pull Gertie into a back room, just spill all this stuff to her, and yeah.
Oh dear, oh lad. What was your name again? My memory these days, you know.
Oh yes, I'm Val. I came in with Solyax.
Val, yes, with my young friend there, and she gives you this very sharp sort of look. So that's right. I understand your concern. No stress, no pressure. Let's think about this logically. If we're approaching anything that's going to be happening as a fight, we've already lost. No, we will prepare. Don't stress about it. A list would be a good idea. Let's get you a nice cup of calming, soothing tea and sit you right down over here. And she leads you back into that same kitchen area and gives you a pad of paper and a pad of paper for you to start writing stuff on and some ink and quills and just, you spend your time, put all of your thoughts down on paper. Very helpful from what I understand. Get your mind set straight, and then we can talk about some of the conclusions that we need to draw. Does that sound like a plan? Let me get you that tea. Oh, no worries, no worries. Stay seated. Don't bother getting up to help an old woman. You're fine. No, I insist. You're absolutely fine. And just goes bustling around.
Am I picking up on
making
any
some
of
tea.
this? Like, that there's something wrong, or that she's trying very subtly to tell me something that Jay's brain is not actively picking up on?
You get the sense that Gertie...
Roll perception.
Or
If I wanted to make him roll for it, this would be insight, not perception. But I'll give you this.
I'm tired.
What Gertie was saying about this, if we're approaching it like a fight, we've already lost. That she thinks there's better ways to approach it, and that this... While there is a need for preparation and a need for setting things straight, she thinks this might be better approached with a more tactical mindset.
Fair enough.
Craft speedy boots.
Yeah, Val is just going to start writing down the lore that he is aware of, the situation, basically all his thoughts. He's writing a freaking book, and he's just going to spend the next however long it takes for Sarai to get there, writing down, okay, preparations here, okay, what do we need, what's available, and just all these questions to discuss.
What can we craft?
Yeah. So.
All right. So, situation as it stands now. A short while after you arrive, Val, Sarai is brought into the back with Nightbane, who takes up a solid third of the comfy cushions that are in there. Just takes them and makes a nest for himself.
That tracks. That
Just a
totally
third?
tracks.
How did Sarai get back? Wasn't she at the library?
No, she went back down the tunnels because I was afraid she was gonna get us caught.
I have this image of Nightbane reaching for another pillow, and Gertie just gives him a look, and he brings the pseudo back.
It's canon. That's definitely what happens.
That's
I
adorable.
thought he grabbed
But I'm
another
very
one while she was
confused.
looking at the other one. He's a cat.
He is cat. He is definitely cat. So, Sarai arrives a short time later with Nightbane. She makes herself a cup of that same soothing blend of tea and joins Val in asking questions for his preparation. Rye and Halberd are at the library. They are greeted. I'll go ahead and give you the name now. The priest introduced himself as Lysanthier Sarnalis. This
Okay.
elven individual there.
I'm not even gonna try and spell that without help. Lord!
Lysanthier.
Nailed it.
Bravo. Sarnalis. Sarnelis.
L-Y.
I had the second name better than the first name.
Lysanthier. And I'll put this in the chat too, so don't worry if you miss it.
Great, thank you. Because no.
Does he have anything on him that denotes a particular deity like Bahamut, or is it just sort of...
He is remarkable in his lack of anything denoting a particular deity.
Okay.
So he could be a patron of Tiamat.
I'm gonna say no from my understanding of the chapel, but
These are questions you should ask about the chapel.
I'm going to go ahead and ask that, since lean over and very quietly and say, "Don't think me a fool. Maybe it's a foolish question, but there's no specific marking. And we're coming from a world where Dragon Throne is supposed to be the seat of Bahamut. That's kind of protected, and it's definitely not protected right now. So make me feel at ease, please, about a dude who has no markings for what deity he serves.
All I can tell you is my remembrance and understanding of the chapel is that they're only affiliated with good or neutral deities, not with anything particularly evil. But I would say, we're meeting this fellow, and you really like to interrogate people, so I'm not going to stand in your way.
You told me to be nice in your country, and I'm trying to be nice.
We're no longer in the library, darling. I just was trying to make sure you didn't get killed, so.
Well,
That's fair.
so far so good.
Yes. I trust Gaspin, I can tell you that, but
If you trust him. So we're not, time out, like I'm all confused. We're not in the library now?
You have been
the
brought to the
chapel's
chapel.
a different sanctum.
Oh my gosh!
And you've officially broke Jonathan.
I thought
This is
I'm
some
with
Doctor
him.
Strange stuff, okay?
I'm too tired for this.
This is my favorite now.
My poor little brain.
Okay, so you were on Denegon in Dragon Throne, which is Celiax's hometown on his home world.
I got that.
Rye took you through to Stax, which is the city that is above the library that sort of supports them, and where those who are affiliated with the library but aren't librarians actually live. From Stax, she took you into a temple there, and through the temple into another sanctum allied with the library and the archives called the chapel. You are now in the chapel.
I hate this so much. This is too many mental hoops. I'm tired. And
I told you guys this when we started the plan.
Rye was very clear about getting Fidira to the chapel.
I
I
thought,
don't remember that conversation.
Yes,
Okay.
I was just taking it.
I
Because
thought
that was
that
like an hour ago.
I legitimately thought the chapel was like the inner sanctum of the library.
He's like in.
Like
I didn't know it was another sanctum.
think Minas Tirith, like this is the
Yeah.
top of the chapel is the top of
Or
the
like-
thing.
Ring 6.
At no point did she say the chapel is another sanctum. She was like, we're going to the chapel. And I went to the library. So, yeah, of
listen,
course.
What could go wrong? This is all good. Nope. This is a non-affiliated other sanctum.
Not
we
non-affiliated. It's
Okay.
not unaffiliated.
It is affiliated, the same way the Brotherhood's affiliated with Bahamut now. Like it's
Oh,
good.
I like how the girls are just sitting here like, yeah, what is so hard to understand? And the guys
Because
are just
they
sitting
knew
there
it. They already they went in on the
This is
secret.
obvious.
And then
They
Jordan's
were like,
just like, what? If I don't understand you guys,
I
why-
said point blank in one of the episodes, I can get us to the library, and I think if I talk to Gaspin, he can take us to the chapel.
yes, I know the library is a sanctum. I didn't know the chapel is a sanctum.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay,
Yeah.
moving on.
These are good questions for your characters to ask each other.
All right,
So-
I'm
Robert's
giving
having his
Raya a
problem.
look, all confused, and I'm gonna look at this dude and say, "Wait a minute." In the name of Bahamut, I'm taking care of his oracle. I am all confused and not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Who the crap do you serve? 'Cause I don't know. I'm kind of freaking out in the moment.
Eyes behind him just doing this.
Here's the deal. I understand ceremony. I also understand directness.
Oh.
So please forgive me. I am not meaning to be rude, but color me confused as a total outsider. I just found out about sanctums, and then mine got attacked and almost destroyed, and now there's more sanctums. But there's a whole bunch of different sanctums attached to other sanctums, and I don't even necessarily know what a sanctum is. But I'm trying to take care of a little girl and keep her from dying or being possessed by Tiamat.
And
If
the
you don't mind,
non-sanctum
a little bit
was
of clarity
attached to
would be
the
nice.
sanctums.
Oh
The
man.
non-sanctum that's part of the sanctum because it's next to the sanctum under the sanctum.
Yes.
Guys, the
I need
panic on
visual
Jonathan
aid.
is real.
Or, like,
Okay.
I don't
know
mind
what
being
you
rude
said,
to
I
Rye
feel
when a
like
little
that.
girl's life is at stake. I sure as heck don't have a problem being rude to this dude.
Okay. Okay. Let's go. He nods at you
Visual aid.
patiently. His hands are folded in front of him. He spreads them. Your sanctum must have been very young. Your confusion is entirely understandable. Welcome to the chapel. Here we serve all on the side of light and good, and do our best to aid those who do pass through our doors, so be most welcome. You seek sanctuary, then, do I understand, for this young oracle?
Sanctuary and healing. Also, was he telling me the truth?
Make an insight check.
Natural 1.
To the best of your ability, you do believe that he is telling you the truth. You're a bit confused and a little a bit off your game. You're looking around and seeing all this religious iconography. You're picking out
Munstered.
some you've met before of Ayun and Bahamut and Ray and
I like those.
Melora and LaRue. You do with your keen elven eyes see a symbol of LaRue. And a number of other deities, Pelor and Arathis and
Lauren's
those
just going down the
who all that
pantheon.
you have say what?
Don't say it.
So Lauren's just going down the pantheon.
I'm waiting for one.
I know.
If you're waiting for one in particular, make a
I don't want to
perception.
know.
He doesn't
I
want to know.
don't want to know.
He doesn't want to know.
All right. What's your passive perception then?
21.
He doesn't-
Okay, with 21, with as confused as you are and everything that's going on, you do not see any particular iconography that reminds you of the Traveler.
Perfect. I love this place. It's great. It's the haven of light.
So at least not immediately off the bat, you are focused here with Venera. And a lot of this iconography, these symbols are in this mosaic on the floor, this mandala. I never know how to say that word.
However, it's your world.
That's that game with the marbles, right?
That's Menkala. I know that one. I loved that game as a kid.
Living game.
So you see a large number of these symbols of deities that you do recognize as being, if not particularly good, then at least neutral. Like Melora, who's the goddess of nature, LaRue, whose domains are not inherently good, because nature is not inherently good or evil, but it's the natural world, and it's a celebration of both life and death. So you recognize this, that it's not but none of the deities that you see are particularly destructive or evil in nature. So does that ease your concern?
Sure.
If healing is called for, I shall guide you to our healing halls. We do have a number of very skilled priests who've received that particular blessing of their gods. If you will follow me, I will guide you that way.
I'll follow.
So he takes you into the chapel. Doran and Siliex and Kazator.
Oh God.
You have your horses, you're mounted up out of view, you are riding now back to the city.
Oh, Lauren,
Yeehaw.
couple things. One, obviously I would have beat them wherever we were going
Mhm.
because I'm super fast.
Right.
So I would have summoned Gygax, and then before we took off, I would have actually pulled the shield off my back and put it in front of me and said, well, guess I'm going to go home. And the little girl told me I should apologize. And so I've been thinking about that.
Hi.
And I'm not sure I've ever done it before. So this is I understand, I'm learning, that what I was taught was not right. And the actions of those who came before me were wrong. And so I feel as though I need to apologize for my thoughts and beliefs previously, as they were incorrect, towards Rylock when I first met him. Although I still hope that he was an interesting individual, but since I have no evidence of any ill content, maybe I should not have judged him so harshly upon first meeting him. I'm not judging Rye and those of her kind for their appearance, for I've learned that they're actually wonderful people. Despite Rye being who she is still good, I think. And
Oh man.
I do believe that I was quite wrong in saying that cruelty is necessary. There is plenty of cruelty in the world, and I do not believe any of it is actually necessary. You cannot fight cruelty with cruelty, and I'm fighting a lot of it. And so, I need to find a nicer path. And so I apologize for my statements. And I could use your help going forward in this next journey, because I'm scared and this is not going to go well. I don't think. Anyways, here we go.
Solyax,
What?
make a perception check.
Yeah, so good at this. Perception. 5.
5. Okay.
I've been rolling terrible today.
I also need to.
As you finish your prayer, you hear a bird song. Very bright, very almost musical in quality, and it catches your attention. You can't quite find the source of it though. You look around, you can't see where it's coming from. But you look back to your shield, and the reflection off of it almost blinds you. As all signs of rest are gone, you take it back up. Dorn and Kazator are coming up the way shortly. You prepare for whatever lies ahead. Comforted in some small measure. And that is where we are going to go ahead and pick up next session.
I wanted to rip Solyax off, but it was too nice of an ending to interject.
Right.
I need to roll better next session so I can read that inside.
I thought we were there with him. Dang.
Not quite. This was he had said before y'all had quite gotten there because he was faster than y'all.
He was like, are you sprinting through the streets invisible, Solyax? I want to know. We were buying horses, if you were. What?
Mhm.
I'm a
wonder I
quick
lost
person just
it.
by nature.
No, I knew you got the first we were buying horses, but I thought it was funny because you're like, I'm faster. And I'm like, mental picture trying to.
Have y'all ever
Well,
seen?
no wonder I lost him.
Right. Have y'all ever seen Blue Collar Comedy Tour?
Hmm.
That had the apology of Larry the Cable Guy going, "Lord, I apologize. Be with the pygmies in New Guinea." You had Halberd like bringing people to tears with the character growth and the wonderfulness, and then you have Solyax.
I don't know that's how I would qualify that situation, okay?
You know what? You have your own emotional threshold, and I have mine. So deal with it.
I feel like it's still growth for Solyax though.
Oh no, 100%. The contrast was amusing to me.
And the Hawk Bandit and I are gonna get us some cash out of the Dragonborn.
Already ripped off 10 gold.
Yeah, new
Keep in
crime
mind, it's
syndicate.
just the two of y'all on the road to meeting up with Solix. Now the two of you are by yourselves.
Yeah.
Oh,
God.
For this
jeez.
I did
brief
not look like
moment.
myself when I did that.
Hmm?
Say what?
I didn't look like myself when I gave her the fake platinum.
Yeah, he had disguised.
I also
himself.
was not in a really bad Hawk Bandit disguise.
All right.
Oh, that
So-
was fun.
On that note, thank you for joining us for our session today. Things are gearing up, guys, and it is
Wow.
exciting.
Maybe
Oh.
we'll get that downtime to be able to craft items and do all that. No,
I hope. We're
Why?
so I
Not gonna
just
happen.
I want to make those boots of yo, I can dash on a bonus.
Expeditious. Expeditious boots.
boots of
Yeah.
expeditious retreat.
Nice.
The boots of exceptional yeet. Gotcha.
Yes, yes.
that
That
note.
is now what they are called. They are boots of exceptional yeet.
Yes.
That
My
is
brain
what they
tired.
are. So thank y'all for coming along on this adventure with us. Stay healthy, stay safe. I know things look like they're getting a little bit better. Hopefully that trend will continue. Fingers crossed. Got to stay optimistic.
I'm a realist.
I know.
It's
But
the-
if I get too down on
world
that, it's just
that is
depressing, and
moving.
that's no good. I can't do that for my mental health.
I'm kidding. Things are.
That's what we're for, because we're your friends.
It's true. It is what y'all
Complain
are for, and
to
y'all are
us.
awesome. But thank y'all for coming along with us before it gets a little too real over here. Y'all have a wonderful evening. We'll
Yes.
see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.